So what you know about teamwork? Cause I've been in the clouds trying to make the dream work. Always done it on my own, that's why it seem hurt. Cause I ain't met no one that ever put me first. So what I know about teamwork? Cause I've only ever done it on my lonesome. I gotta deal through it out, yeah, I grown some. Don't expect love if you've never shown none. I spent last year in the haze, so many records got made. I kept that shit to myself, I only wanted my pay. I took some time from stage, got in the bed with the snakes. They wasn't doing their job, I let them slither away. I wanna build me a team, so I can get to my fans. I need someone on my side, that's gonna give me a chance. But shit just ain't what it seems, don't let them in on your plans. I hope they know what I mean, I hope that you understand. So never land, never pan out. Wings talk, think I better let them span out. Was too chill, think I better let the man out. Grew up with hand-me-downs, now I'm never taking handouts. Man, if you knew all the things I'm watching when I'm planned out. But I need help to do it, so can I get a fan count? Never understood me, now it's funny how I stand out. Me, myself, and I, homie, welcome to the madhouse. So what you know about teamwork? Cause I've been in the clouds trying to make the dream work. Always done it on my own, that's why I seem hurt. Cause I ain't met no one that ever put me first. So what I know about teamwork? Cause I've only ever done it on my lonesome. I gotta deal through it out, yeah, I grown some. Don't expect love if you've never shown none. I know my girl on my side, I'm trying to build this alive. Thank all my family alive, and I just wanna provide. They say it's gonna take time, but I've been losing my mind. She helps me grow and evolve, my family ready to ride. So why am I feeling low, when life is giving me highs? I put my value in sales instead of hoops by my side. But I can see it's the front, that's why I'm not coming back. Yeah, I was slow to react. Don't give a damn what they thought of it. Yeah, I'm feeling glorious. No flash from the audience, man, should've recorded it. I took a color pill, used my computer skills. Now I got agents after me, word up to Morpheus. The future I sorted it, do this till I'm bored with it. Invest in myself endeavors, hope I don't get audited. My body is a temple, but I fucked up the ornaments. I'm so gassed up, the US probably at war with it. It's a message to the earthlings. Join the team round here, we put the work in. It ain't teamwork if only one of us is working. Only thing I'm signing is when fans bring the merchants. I ain't got a thing yet that I wasn't deserving. And I ain't famous yet, but that bitch be flirting. I'll make it rain, start a wave and go surfing. I'll make it rain, start a wave and go surfing. So what you know about teamwork? And what I know about teamwork?
Hello, welcome back. They are still not back in court, so we're not missing anything just yet. Boy, this trial has so many breaks, like more so than any of the other trials I've seen. Hey Brittany, Kate the bestest, Country, Nico Chapcat, Crime Fighters. Hey Cat's Eye. Oh, that's too funny. Hey, Queen Bella. Good afternoon, Lilith. Hi, Lisa. And Pointer Lover made it back. Mystery. Man, I've been thinking about those text messages when I was taking the dogs on a walk. I'm like, man, maybe they'll get them in another way. Maybe they'll get them in another way. I don't know. Okay, let me go ahead. I'll share the stream so you guys see that it's nothing's there yet. Just on a lunch break. Okay, let me go ahead and read. Jonesy went ahead and updated her community tab. If someone will drop her link, I'll finish reading through her summaries. We left off on Detective Lemons from day 2. From day 2, witness number 9 was Brian Osden. He's with the FBI Atlanta office. Cameras came back for trial a little bit into Agent Osden's testimony due to the 30-minute delay. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull up on string because they've been doing that too with, for some reason, Court TV has been coming back at a wonky time. But Long Crime seems to be. Okay, so I got Long Crime up and open in the back also. That way, if they come back earlier. No, I didn't see that. Florida is shutting down Wade Wilson grift. I'm gonna have to look that up, Maniacs. That is awesome. Speak up. Am I not loud enough? I'm sorry. I'm hoping so. I'm really hoping so, Cat's Eye. Yeah, the audio has been low. What we do is just best thing we can do is court TV seems to have better audio than Law and Crime, and just put in your earbud and crank it the best you can. Well, that was a second chance in opening statements. That was another one that the prosecutor said she'll explain that when she testifies. So I'm assuming that means she's going to, but okay, let me pull yours up real quick. I've got YouTube Streets. Oh, I like their name. Son of Sam Law in full effect. But this is not new charges, and it's an invocation credit. By and through the undersigned assistant state's attorney, and hereby gives notice to these people that the state of Florida intends to invoke the provisions of Florida Statute 944.512. Okay, they're talking on Law and Crime. Okay, hang on, let me finish reading this. Otherwise known as Florida's Son of Sam Law, should there be any royalties, commissions, proceeds of sale, or any other thing of value payable to or occurring to the defendant, inmate, or person on his behalf, including any person to whom the proceeds may be transferred or assigned by gift or otherwise from any literary, cinematic, or other account of the crime for the crimes for which the defendant/inmate has been convicted. All proceeds will be distributed as provided by law. Oh, good, good, good. Okay, let me go over to Law and Crime and we'll share that. Now, their audio is not the best, so I'll play this until Court TV comes live.
Okay, so we're back on the record. Please bring in Ms. Simon. All right, Ms. Simon, please have a seat with your attorneys. We are back on the record in SPCR 22-03364J6. Counsel for the defense is present and seated with her. Counsel for the state is present as well, and Detective Lemons is back on the stand. Anything we need to take up outside the presence of the jury?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please bring in the jury.
Mystery. Thank you. I literally just downloaded that, added that extension, and yeah, boosted the audio right and there. So hopefully we'll have a lot better audio. So thank you for that.
Okay. everybody can have a seat until the jurors are ready.
She's always eating. Love the new picture for Halloween. Adore that. Yeah, I appreciate that, Mystery. Well, it's just weird pointing her lover that she's always eating like while seated at the table. Normally they don't eat in the courtroom. Sexy spooky. Thank you, Cammie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Please have a seat. I hope you enjoyed lunch. I hope you enjoyed the break. Thank you. And I have to ask you, were you able to follow the court's instructions? Okay. And did anyone do any research? Did anyone engage in any discussion with anyone? All right. And were you exposed to any media or social media? All right, thank you. Everyone has indicated they have not. And so with that, Mr. Dean, let's begin.
We're ready for you, Mr.
In
Dean.
the October 5th and October 8th interviews, where was it that the defendant was claiming she had met her drug dealer, Red, on the night of October 4th?
Flacco's Tacos off of Highway 204.
What is Flacco's Tacos?
I believe it's a Mexican restaurant.
Did the investigative team determine that that was not true?
Yes.
Can you tell us how that determination was made?
When we obtained Leilani's cell phone records directly from Verizon and from her cell phone, her GPS coordinates did not show her at Flacco's Tacos.
Where did they show her?
On Arkwright Lane.
Can you describe Arkwright Lane for us, please?
So from where the Flacco's Tacos is at Highway 204 and I-95 area, Arkwright Lane is about a quarter mile down the road where Highway 204 turns into Fort Argyle.
Now, were you able to pinpoint a specific address on Arkwright Lane?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And did you do any follow-up research on that address?
Yes, I did.
To determine what individuals might be associated with it?
Yes.
Now, I don't know that we've talked about the Cash App in the defendant's phone. Did you review her phone and see a Cash App payment that was made at the time of that trip?
Yes.
And to whom was that Cash App payment made?
The name on the transaction was Timothy Weston.
Did you uncover any information about Timothy Weston and any tie to that location on Arkwright Lane that her phone was sitting at that night?
Yes.
Can you tell us what that was?
So I conducted a follow-up on Arkwright Lane. I spoke with Timothy Weston, who resided or was at 14 Arkwright Lane.
Did you see any references in her phone to a Tim? Do you remember?
Referencing Tim, yes.
Can you tell us what those references, like how they referred to him?
Tim 204.
Okay.
They were usually used in conjunction with each other.
And were these in messages between the defendant and Daniel Youngkin talking about going to see Tim 204?
Yes.
Were there also messages on her phone indicating some contact with a fellow that she had saved as Craig?
Yes.
Okay. And did you find any connection between Craig and that residence on Arkwright Lane?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
So Craig is Craig Weston, and he is Timothy Weston's cousin.
Okay. Now, did you look at the criminal history of both of those?
What?
And can you tell us what, if anything, their criminal histories contain in the way of drug arrests?
They've both been arrested for narcotic sales.
So they're drug dealers.
Yes.
Okay. And Craig Weston from Mark Lane.
Listen, it's a family business, okay? The way she said that, she's like, they're both in narcotic sales.
Yes,
Now, you said you went and talked to them, right?
I did.
Did you wear a badge?
I did.
Did you go with an FBI agent?
I did.
Did you identify yourselves as police?
Yes, we did.
And did you ask them whether they had seen the defendant that night?
Yes.
Were these two drug dealers willing to tell you that they had seen the defendant on the night of October 4th or not?
No, they weren't.
Thank you. Let me just ask you real quickly. We've talked about how the defendant came back in on the 8th for an interview with Bridget Brock at the FBI office.
Yes.
Did Danny Youngkin come in that day as well for a follow-up interview?
Yes, he did.
And did Paul Simon come in that day also?
I'm not sure if it was that day. It may have been a later day. His second interview was conducted.
Okay, he did in any case come in for a follow-up interview.
Yes, he did.
How would you rate Paul's level of cooperation during this investigation?
He was very cooperative.
And how would you rate Danny's level of cooperation during this investigation?
He also was very cooperative.
Anything in particular that he did that causes you to say that?
Both of them were in constant contact with us. Daniel specifically wanted to do anything that we asked him to find Quinton.
Did he agree to any monitoring of his contact with the defendant?
Yes.
And can you tell us about those things?
Yes. There was two things that we asked Daniel to do. One of which was a monitoring of his cell phone. Specifically, we wanted to monitor his cell phone in a live manner anytime he communicated with the defendant, which means if Daniel's getting a phone call, we're hearing it. That applied to all of his phone calls, not just the ones with Leilani.
So he agreed to a wiretap?
Yes.
Any other monitoring he agreed to?
Yes. He also agreed to a hotel monitoring where we set up recording devices in a hotel room that he and Leilani shared so we could listen to their conversations while Leilani thought nobody was around.
How long did the phone monitoring last for, roughly?
I think it lasted 3 months.
And when was the hotel recording operation conducted?
It was between October 7th and 9th.
So it was.
So we really do have a very similar situation to Al and Letitia here, where Al was working directly with the FBI to record these phone calls. Yep, I bet he will be too, MJ. Or at least pretty soon hereafter. But yeah, it sounds like Danny was working very close with law enforcement. That's awesome.
Was it in effect then on the day of the October 8th interview that we just watched?
Yes.
They were recorded that evening in a hotel?
Yes, they were.
Just a couple more housekeeping questions so that I don't forget. 535 Buckhalter Road, what county is that in?
It's in Chatham County.
And the Azalea Mobile Home Plaza, what county is that in?
Chatham County.
Now, the route between 535 Buckhalter and Azalea Mobile Home Plaza, does it pass through any counties other than Chatham?
No, it doesn't.
And is the landfill on Little Neck Road in Chatham County as well?
Yes, it is.
The Chatham County Police Department has jurisdiction over what geographical areas in Chatham County?
Do you mean like the boundaries?
Well, let me ask you this. The Chatham County Police Department, is it responsible for policing unincorporated Chatham?
Yes.
And is 535 Buckhalter Road in unincorporated Chatham County?
Yes, it is.
So if it happens there, it's y'all's responsibility.
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dean. Mr. Hilliard?
Yeah, at this time, if I could reserve questioning, I think we're going to take a witness out of order.
We are. And so Detective Lemons, I'm going to ask you to step down and take your place at the sixth table.
Reserve questioning. Hey, Remy.
And Mr. Hilliard, you reserve cross-examination at this time, but you will cross-examine later. Okay. And there is a witness, Mr. Dean, that you wish to call at this time.
Yes, Your Honor. May I first bring some exhibits up to the clerk and make sure that everything's in order?
Who's it gonna be? I'm so anxious. That's right, Cat's Eye. All of the tragedy pimps were milking it. Dr. Andy Christensen. Okay. Oops. What are we up to? 10th?
Raise your right hand. Do you have that you should give the court and the jury the trial decision should give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So, step this way, please.
All right, good afternoon. Mr. Dean.
Please introduce yourself to the jury, spelling your first and last name.
Yes, my name is Angie Christensen. Angie is spelled A-N-G-I. Christensen is C-H-R-I-S-T-E-N-S-E-N.
And where do you work now?
I work at the FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia.
And what is your position there?
I work there as a forensic anthropologist.
And what is a forensic anthropologist?
A forensic anthropologist is a scientist who studies the human skeleton in forensic contexts.
How long have you been a forensic anthropologist?
I've been with the FBI laboratory since 2004, so just about 20 years.
Did you work as a forensic anthropologist in any other capacity before joining the FBI lab?
I assisted with a couple of cases as a graduate student.
Can you tell us about your education, training, and experience that puts you in a position to serve as a forensic anthropologist with the FBI lab?
I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a PhD, all in the area of anthropology. I'm also board certified by the American Board of Forensic Anthropology and the Forensic Anthropology Society of Europe.
When you conduct forensic anthropology work in a case, how do you first get involved in the case? How does it come to you?
To the FBI laboratory,
Yeah.
The case flow process is that all evidence is first received by our evidence management unit, and they read the incoming documentation and inspect the packaging and make sure everything is in place and in order, and then they prepare that evidence for delivery and examination by the scientists.
Now, before that ever happens, do the agents in the field have to send you a request to do some work in the first place?
Whoever is requesting the examination will send a letter documenting what that request is and that they're requesting lab examinations.
And does that letter bear the FBI's case number?
Yes, if it's an FBI case, then it will, yes.
And does the lab then assign its own case number?
Yes, in addition to the FBI case file number, the laboratory will assign an FBI laboratory number.
And did you conduct some forensic anthropology work in connection with the Quinton Simon case arising out of Savannah?
Yes, I did.
What was the FBI case number for that case?
Your Honor, may I refer to a copy of my report? The FBI case number for that case is AT, which stands for our Atlanta field office, 3665337.
And what was the lab number assigned for the work that you did?
The laboratory number assigned was 2022-02600.
And Your Honor, before I forget, I would offer Dr. Christensen as an expert in forensic anthropology. No objection.
All right, thank you.
Sometime in late November, mid to late November, did you first get a request from some agents in Savannah to look at some photographs?
Yes, the first request I received was actually.
Yeah, it's a great reminder, Maniacs. Let me go ahead and say that for those that are just listening. She's probably going to say a lot of stuff that's really tough to hear, as well as possibly there will be exhibits shown that are hard to see. So if you need to take breaks, take breaks. If you need to come back later, come back later. But this is probably going to be pretty rough, and it's probably going to make a lot of us pretty angry.
Actually on October 28, 2022.
And how many photographs did you receive at that time?
That day I received 6 images as well as a bone that was depicted in those images.
Okay. And did you take a look at those photographs, and what were they asking you to tell them about them?
The photographs depicted a bone that they wanted me to determine whether it was human or not in origin.
And what day was that? When did you get that?
The communication was dated October 28th of 2022, and my report is dated October 31 of 2022.
And did you look at that photograph and come to a tentative opinion about whether that bone was human?
Yes, my preliminary conclusion was that bone was non-human in origin.
Did they send that bone up to you in any case?
Yes.
And did you look at it in real life?
Yes, I examined the photos, they submitted the actual bone, and I then directly examined the bone.
Okay. And what was your conclusion at that
That the bone was non-human in origin.
And again, that was in late October.
Yes.
Okay. Did you later, sometime in mid to late November, get substantially more photographs of some different remains?
Yes, there were a number of photos submitted in a communication dated November 18.
And how many photographs was that?
These are represented in the laboratory's item numbers 15 through 26, so I believe that's 12 photographs.
Okay. And what were they asking you to tell them about these photographs?
Once again, to determine if I could, based on the photographs, whether the bones depicted were human or non-human in origin.
And what did you opine based on the photographs?
In that case, I did conclude that the images depicted bones that were consistent with human origin.
Now, shortly thereafter, did you receive a box of suspected human remains from the agents in Savannah?
Yes, the laboratory did receive, subsequent to that, physical submissions of some of the material depicted in those photographs.
And what specifically did the lab receive? What did it look like when it got to you?
When it got to me, so this is different than when it was received by the lab. It would have initially been received by the evidence management unit, who then inspected and then sent it to me. I received, in this case, I might refer to my notes just to refresh my memory, one box containing 4 additional paper bags.
And did you examine the contents of those paper bags?
Yes, I did.
And did you photograph the contents of each of those paper bags?
I did.
Your Honor, I'd like to approach with what I've marked as State's Exhibit 78. Do you recognize those images?
Yes.
And what are those images?
These are photographs that I took of the contents of those 4 bags as I received them.
And what was the date of those photographs?
Those photographs are dated November 21 of 2022.
Okay. And is the items in those photographs, is that what the Savannah agents had sent you pictures of a couple days before?
It includes what was depicted in those images, but there's also additional material depicted here.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to publish the exhibit by displaying it on monitor. Now, were these the contents of these bags, or did these bags receive lab individual numbers at the lab?
Yes, they were assigned item numbers by the evidence management unit.
Now, what were the numbers assigned to each of these bags?
Items 27, 28, 29, and 30.
Does this first image here depict the contents of the bag numbered item 27?
Yes.
And what are those numbers we see in the bottom right-hand corner?
In the bottom right, you see the FBI laboratory number, which is 2022-02600. It then says item 27, dated 11/21/22, and to the side, my initials.
Can you tell us what it is that we're looking at here?
This is the photo I took documenting the material as I received it. Upon later examination, I determined this piece of tissue to not contain any skeletal material.
Did you do any further examination of this particular item?
No, because as a forensic anthropologist, I don't examine any of the soft tissues, only the skeleton. So because there was no skeletal material present, I did not conduct any further examinations on this item.
The next slide, slide 2, this is item 28.
Yes,
All right, so this was the contents of another one of the bags.
yes.
Can you describe to us what we're looking at here? What was in that bag?
Again, this is a photograph that I took just documenting the material as I received it. On further examination, I sub-itemized these numbers and examined the bones individually.
And so you did do.
I'm glad they're showing her face because I want to punch it. The way she's looking at her son. That's your son that you made look like that. And you're just looking at it all like quizzical and confused or something, but you did that. Oh, it's outraging me.
Further analysis of the contents of this bag.
Yes.
Slide 3 is item 29, correct?
That's correct.
And can you describe to us the contents of item 29?
Again, this is a depiction of the material as I received it prior to doing my additional examinations.
Slide 4, not a great picture, but is this item 30?
Yes.
Right, so the fourth bag.
Yes.
Okay. What was in that bag?
This is a combination of soft tissue and skeletal material as it was received by me.
What did it appear to you to be anatomically?
It appears to be a foot, including some of the soft tissue and the bones within.
Once you had received these items and taken them out of the bag and photographed them, what?
That's your baby's foot, and all you can muster is a fucking little frown. I'm gonna stop pausing. But wow. No tears. There's not a wet spot on her face, nothing. And she's looking at her son.
What did you do with the items that you did further examination? What was the first step?
As you can see in the images, there's soft tissue and other debris that's adhering to the bones. And my examination is just on the skeletal material. So in order to isolate the bones as well as to clean the surfaces so that I could examine them, I removed any soft tissue and cleaned the bones of any additional debris.
Now, I'd like to ask you some questions about the types of conclusions that you can arrive at as a forensic anthropologist, okay? Were you able to look at a set of bones and determine whether they appear to be of human origin or not?
Yes.
And how do you do that?
It's based on my education and training and experience, in much the same way that you all can probably tell the difference between human and non-human animals. The same is true for their internal structures and bones. So by examining and studying enough human and non-human bones, I can tell the difference between them.
And of the bones you looked at across these 4 items, did you determine that most of them were of human origin?
There were some bones that were of non-human origin and some bones for which I could not determine whether the origin was human or non-human in origin, but most of them were human bones.
And were you able to identify anatomically which bone in the human body you were looking at for the bones of human origin?
Yes.
And did these include a left and right femur?
If I might refer to my report, these are listed by item number and bone name in my report. But yes, there was a left and right femur.
A left and right tibia?
Yes.
Tibia being one of the long bones of the lower leg.
It's the shin bone, yes.
A fibula?
Yes.
That being the other bone of the lower leg?
Yes, it's to the side of your shin bone. It makes up the side of your ankle at the bottom.
Did these bones include part of a right humerus?
Yes.
What is the humerus?
The humerus is the upper arm bone.
And did they include part of a right ulna?
Yes.
What is the ulna?
An ulna is a bone of your forearm on the thumb side.
Did they include a left calcaneus?
Yes.
What is the calcaneus?
Heel bone.
And did they include 5 left ribs?
Yes.
Did they also include a frontal bone?
Yes.
What is the frontal bone?
A frontal bone is the cranial bone right here. It makes up your forehead.
Now, is that visible in slide 3 depicting item 29?
Yes,
Is it the bone in the top right?
yes,
Did the bones that you identified as of human origin include a right temporal bone?
yes.
Where is that on the human
The
body?
temporal bone is near the ear.
And is that visible in item 29 here, or is it in one of the other items?
It's difficult for me to tell from this photograph because of the tissue and debris on the bones in the photograph.
Did the bones that you identified as being of human origin include a left parietal bone?
Yes.
What is a parietal bone?
The parietal bones make up the two sides of the cranium.
And did they include various bones from the left foot?
Yes.
When you are looking at bones that you've determined are of human origin, are you able to tell whether they are consistent with being from a human of a particular age range?
Yes, especially for children, looking at the stages of growth and development and taking measurements of the bones, it's possible to tell approximately how old somebody was by looking at their skeleton.
And of the bones that you identified as being of human origin in these 4 items, 27 to 29, did they all appear to be from a human being in the same age range?
Yes, they were all consistent with being from a child aged 1 to 2 years.
And when you're looking at a set of bones that you've identified as being of human origin, are you able to render an opinion as to whether they're all from the same individual, like the same person?
Yes, it's possible to estimate the number of individuals represented. So just based on an inventory of the skeletal material present, if, for example, there were 2 left femurs, I would be able to conclude that there were at least 2 individuals present. In this case, for example, there were no bones that were duplicated that I wouldn't expect to be duplicated in a human skeleton.
So your opinion as to the human bones that you received from the agents in Savannah, that they're, to sum it up, that many of them were of human origin.
Yes,
Those of them were of human origin were from a child 1 to 2 years of age.
correct.
And a single child.
Correct, yes.
What determinations, let me ask you this, did you observe trauma on any of these bones?
Yes.
And what, if anything, are you able to tell us about when the trauma, well, let's start with not this case, but just a given case. Can you look at a human bone that has signs of trauma, and can you sometimes tell when the trauma occurred relative to death?
Yes. So if there are, trauma refers to any alteration that might happen to a bone. And we can tell if that happened before death, which we call antemortem, if the bone displays any signs of healing. So as soon as you break a bone, your body immediately starts the healing process. So if we see any signs of healing on that bone, we know that it happened before the person died. Perimortem means that the trauma occurred around the time of death. And this is a term that's used a bit differently by medical examiners and pathologists than by anthropologists. So perimortem being around the time of death, typically a pathologist is talking about a very narrow range of time. Anthropologically speaking, because we're only looking at the bones and we're not examining any of the other tissues, all we can tell is what sort of state that bone was in when it was fractured. So in life, the bone has water and collagen, and it's actually a rather flexible material, and it has some give before it breaks. Imagine, for example, you have a fresh green stick and you try to break it. That stick has a good bit of bend before it will actually break. And this differs from a dry stick where if you pick it up and try to bend it, it just snaps. The same thing kind of happens to bone as it dries. So bone that is fractured in a post-mortem condition, so much after the death event when the bone has become dry, it fractures differently than a bone that is fractured in that fresh state. That fresh state we call biomechanically fresh. But that biomechanically fresh state can persist for a long time after death, depending on the conditions of where the body is deposited. So The fractures in a bone will look the same to me if they happen right at the time of death or potentially sometime after death, as long as the bone is still in that biomechanically fresh state.
When you use it, do you ever use the term death event?
Yes.
What does that mean?
That just refers to when that person died, the event of dying.
Is it fair to say that in this case, you cannot attribute any of the trauma to the bones here to the death event?
That's correct.
Is it fair to say that you essentially cannot tell whether any of the trauma to the bones was incurred before this child died versus after?
I can tell that the fractures didn't occur before the time of death because there's no signs of that active healing. So the fractures either occurred around the time of death or after.
One moment, please.
They're just explaining the process of why they can't attribute any of it to before his death.
These images that we've been looking at, these are the pictures that you took in your lab?
I took these photos, yes.
Do they fairly and accurately depict the evidence that the lab received from Savannah in late November?
As I received it, yes.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as State's Exhibit 78.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, State's Exhibit 78 is admitted without objection.
One moment, please.
He deserves so much better than the world he ended up in.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge. Dr. Christian, good afternoon. My name is Martin. How are you?
Good afternoon. Very well, thank you.
I just want to follow up with some questions, if you don't mind. Okay. You said I'm going to skip the first items from October 31st because I just don't think they're relevant. Okay. I'm going to skip straight to the items from November 18th, if that's okay. You said you received 4 items in it's 1 box, 4 bags on the inside of the box, correct? Correct. Items 27, 28, 29, and 30. You didn't do any analysis on item 27, correct?
Well, I did an initial assessment, and once I determined that there was no skeletal material present, I did not conduct any additional examinations.
So let me rephrase that. You looked at it, realized it didn't have skeletal material. You didn't do anything further than the initial
Yes,
assessment.
that's correct. Yes.
Item 28, you said they were bones, and most were human bones. I found that, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I found that a little odd. So what bones did you find in item 28?
So I ended up sub-itemizing because I wanted to account for and be able to accurately describe each of the bones in those depictions. Although the evidence management unit initially called that item 28, I broke it down in my report. Item 28-1, 28-2, 28-3, representing each of the bones. And in this case, items 28-17 to 28-23 were bones of non-human origin, but 28-1 through 28-16 were bones of human origin.
And just to be 1 through 16 and item 28, you said were of human origin, and items 27 through 23 of items 28 were not.
Items 28-1 through 28-16 were human origin. 28-17 to 28-23 were non-human.
And I was just curious, did you ever determine, is that the only determination you made was just non-human, or did you ever identify as being anything else?
No, we do not report what species it is beyond non-human in origin.
Just want to follow up and check on it. Now, you said with the, I guess it's the item 29, which was the skull fragments, correct?
That consisted of some of the skull fragments, yes.
You said that was of human origin.
Yes, items 29-1 to 29-3 were human in origin.
And on item 30, you said there was some soft tissue and some skeletal material, correct?
Yes, they all had some soft tissue and other debris with the skeletal material.
And with regards to item 30, I assume you didn't do anything with the soft material, but you did identify.
I don't know what he's getting at, but let me just reiterate for you guys. Quinton was not found in one location. He was scattered throughout the landfill. So as gruesome as this is, they could have found some bones that they believe to be human right next to someone's chicken carcass. And that's why what Leilani did is all the more atrocious, because she literally threw her baby out in the trash. So when you're a searcher and you find something that looks human in nature and you gather the bones around it, it could have been something as simple as that. So I'm not sure where he's going with this, but it's an easy thing to understand, and hopefully the jury knows that as well.
By the skeletal material.
I did remove and examine the skeletal material, yes.
And did you find that item 30 was human remains?
Yes, these were portions of a left foot.
And you kind of glossed over it, but I didn't really understand. You said that bones are, I guess, a little bit more flexible in life
That's correct.
than in death, correct?
Then once they've dried, yes.
So you didn't find, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, just trying to make sure I understand it. You said that you cannot attribute any of the trauma to the bones to the death event, correct?
I can't say when they occurred with respect to the death event, no.
And with regard to these bones and this testing, was that all of the involvement is all you were asked to do with these items?
Yes,
So, you did identify the items you discussed as human material, correct?
correct, yes,
And you couldn't attribute any of the traumas of the bones to the death of it, correct?
correct.
And that's all the conclusions you were asking.
Yeah, in addition to the age estimate of a child aged 1 to 2 years.
That's all the questions I answered.
Any redirect?
Nothing from this bitch. Nothing.
May this witness be excused.
I have more emotion
Yes.
over this than she does.
Doctor, thank you. You are excused.
It's outrageous. Here's our little cutie with the bow tie. Everybody
I'm going
good?
to have the jurors return to the deliberation room at this point. We're at a point where we're deciding going forward or stopping
Ooh.
for today. It's a little early, but this makes the most sense, I think. But just to firm that up with counsel, I'm going to ask you to step to the deliberation room.
Jurors are exiting.
Is everyone good in chat? If you guys scream in a pillow or punch a pillow, that's perfectly acceptable. Grandma, thank you for the laugh. I wondered that too, Callie, but I'm guessing they didn't ask her to look for that, therefore that's why it wasn't in there. I love that during Cannon's trial.
Thank you. All right. So I think this is the stopping point that we anticipated.
That's understandable.
I don't know. I'd like to do this one first and kind of decide which way we're going to jump at this point. We have 2 days of women's testimony to talk about. So, see whether we're get a little bit of a break.
Sure. All right. Let's take a break. Let's break until I think it's. I can't read that clock. 3:20. Tell me what that clock says.
3:19 actually.
It's got with the light, there's a glare to it.
Okay. All right. I'll look at my own clock.
All right, cutie with the bow tie. We like your little voice.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you. Yeah, we're in recess.
Grandpa with the bow tie. All right, they're taking another break. Sounds like they might not even resume today when they get back. And I'm guessing it's because someone big is up next, like Danny. What I want to play for you guys, and I know it's kind of tough after that, is I made this video back before Quinton was found in the landfill. Everybody was out there in the or not everybody, but the YouTubers were out there causing a scene, chaos. They were bitching about how he wasn't being found quick enough, blah, blah, blah. And so I did some research into what a landfill search and recovery looks like. And this is also going to explain a little bit about what his precious body went through before it even made it to the landfill. So it's about 12 minutes long, which is kind of perfect. That's about how long their break is. And I thought it might be a good filler during some of this, and I think this is the perfect time. Let me read it for those just listening. I'll break this down into 3 parts. How a landfill operates, a quick recap of that. Footage of previous landfill searches detailing things such as cost and time, and news articles discussing landfill searches.
The landfill search for Quinton Simon. It's been nearly 2 weeks since someone last saw the 20-month-old. Our Andy Cole joins us now live from El Scottsdale Park, where investigators have set up a new command center. And Andy, police are now saying Quinton is likely somewhere at a nearby landfill.
Yeah, good evening, Shannon. Chatham County's police chief says he has, quote, every belief that Quinton will be found somewhere in that landfill. But a search like that, it's not easy. It's going to take dozens of people, many, many days. And the outcome, in the words of the FBI, is uncertain.
Do y'all believe that Quinton was brought here and thrown in the landfill, or thrown in the trash and then ended up in the landfill?
We believe that he was placed in a specific dumpster at a specific location, and it was brought here by regular means of disposal.
As we near 2 weeks since Quinton Simon went missing, police are entering a new phase in the investigation. Dozens of FBI agents and Chatham County investigators are scouring a landfill, looking for any sign of Quinton.
We did not want to end up at this point, but the evidence has taken us here. We are not just randomly searching this landfill. We have evidence, specific evidence that leads us to this large property.
It's unclear how long the search will take, but investigators say the search won't be quick or easy.
I have every belief that we will find his remains here at the landfill.
And Andy, it looks like it'll be a large search. Who's leading that effort?
Yeah, the FBI has already had all of their personnel from the Savannah and Brunswick offices on scene for some time now, but they brought in experts from Quantico and Atlanta to lead the search as part of the FBI's evidence response team. Shannon?
And then we found out, remember this video's from way before we knew anything, but we found out in trial that every person that searched in the landfill did so voluntarily. They received no pay for it. And yes, this footage here is not from Quinton's case or landfill.
We place our waste in the trash bin, and on trash day, the non-recyclable items are picked up and taken to a landfill. The less familiar steps happen once you get to the landfill. Once waste reaches the landfill, it is carefully placed into what we call a cell. Once waste is deposited, it is...
So before they even get to this process, though, it's compacted in the truck. We heard that at the beginning of the trial, you know. With landfills, space, real estate is a hot commodity, so everything is compacted and compacted and compacted. So before, when that dumpster was dumped into the garbage truck, it was compacted right there before it made this trip here.
is compressed at approximately 1,500 pounds per cubic yard to conserve as much space as possible. Once a cell is made, it is covered by soil and compacted further in order to limit wind-blown debris and odors, creating a stable, engineered repository. These cells make up what we all know as a landfill.
It's sobering, quite frankly. Every load that's tipped here, you've just thrown away value. The amount of corrugated cardboard, fiber, plastic, you can see all the bags, it's just unreal. This is what people don't see. It's fantastic that they can place their material in a cart, it goes to the curb, and then no one really thinks about it unless their driver happens to miss their route. But this is the reality of most trash across the country, certainly in Michigan and unfortunately for Kent County. And we have our waste energy facility, we have our recycling facility, but there's so much material that's brought to the landfill. But what they do is they tip here, then there's a dozer up there that pushes that trash around. And then there's a compactor up there as well that's then compacting it in place. and you put this material in like 10-foot lifts.
So each truck that gets brought in from all over, might not even be the same city, from all over, they get in line like we just saw previously, and they dump it into the same cell for that day. And GPS is in all the trucks, log this. This is how they knew exactly which cell to search for Quinton. Now, as you can see, they dump it in and they're driving over it as they're dumping it. You have the compactor in the back that pushes it around, drives over it, compacts it and compacts it and compacts it.
And then at the end of the day, you use what's called daily cover, and that covers the material so it doesn't blow away and keeps the smell down and things of that nature. And then the next day you scrape that off, and it's another day.
Just amazed by the sea of sea.
Isn't that crazy? Well, I mean,
And I imagine that probably helped with the faster decomp, was covering it, you know? Oh, yeah, I will, let me give you a wrench maniac so you can drop that link in chat, okay? And he was in the landfill from October 5th through November 18th, for those asking earlier.
it's lunch and breakfast, and they get 3 squares up here. I think the most disappointing thing here is once he's pushed that into the pile, it's never coming back. It's gone for ever. You know, right there, that's all scrap steel. All right, let's get you out so you can get a real feel for it. Yeah, it's stable, but yeah, you're standing on trash. You're probably standing on about 100 feet of trash right now. Yeah, so one truck after another all day long. A couple hundred trucks a day, over 1,000 tons a day.
Let's look at other cases.
Police think Silas Ojeda's body was tossed in a dumpster after his mother's boyfriend told him the boy fell off the counter and hit his head. Denver 7's Molly Hendrickson is in Alt with the very latest.
This is a huge undertaking that could take several weeks. We're talking about a search area as big as a football field and about 15 feet deep in trash. That's about as tall as this tree. We know 3 truckloads of trash were brought here from Laramie County, where Logan Rogers says he put the boy's body in a dumpster. Nearly 50 searchers are raking through one front end loader bucket of trash at a time.
And if there's something that is suspicious or, you know, that we find is of evidentiary value, then we'll go through that hands and knees and gloves.
Now, you may be wondering why they don't bring cadaver dogs here to search the landfill. Well, investigators say methane gas from the landfill could kill those dogs. Also, it's hunting season and carcasses from other animals could really throw their scent off. Now, the odds are not in their...
And this is what the searchers were dealing with. That's why they had to be so suited up, gloves upon gloves, masks, everything, because they're literally rummaging around in our garbage looking for a baby.
Favor, they say they have about a 1% chance of finding the body of the little boy or other evidence connected to him.
And this is the 3rd week that a special group of volunteers is combing through a Macomb County landfill for her remains. 7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig going in depth tonight with the volunteers working tirelessly to bring closure to Zion's family.
The volunteers in the search for Zion Foster are actual first responders on a mission to help a family in their quest for justice.
We want people doing this job that want to do this job because we want to do it right.
For Detroit Police Commander Michael McGinnis, there's not a day that goes by that he doesn't think about the case of 17-year-old Zion Foster. He and the other first responders searching this landfill in Lenox for her remains.
This is not for closure. This is for truth.
Sierra Milton says she's grateful to the first responders who are out here digging in hopes of finding her daughter. Commander McGinnis says they've isolated the search area here at the landfill based on the date a trash truck came here to this location from Detroit, where they believe the 17-year-old's body was placed in a dumpster.
We've reached the layer that is what we're going to call the focus area. And we're taking that material out and we're putting it on a deck. And searchers like myself wearing PPE equipment like this are going through with rakes, raking through the material in the hopes of discovering Zion.
The work can be hot and strenuous, but McGinnis says they have air-conditioned vehicles and tents in the search area where volunteers can take breaks, but they're driven to find Zion and answers.
The Detroit Public Safety Foundation tells us they've spent more than $300,000 to conduct that massive search. In the meantime, Detroit police tell us they'll be sharing more information on Friday.
McGinnis says safety is number one. Their protective equipment includes a hazmat suit and 2 layers of gloves that are duct taped to the suits,
and boots duct taped to the suit as well, keeping any particles out. It says keeping those first responders fed and nourished is about $450 a day.
What we do know is that this is a very large property that they're searching. Thankfully, though, landfill records, they monitor where the trucks are coming from and where they dump everything that they're carrying. So that has really helped to narrow down where they need to be looking. SLED investigators tell us that this started over the weekend when Johnston, South Carolina police officers asked them to help on a case where a baby may have been thrown into a dumpster. That trash was transported to the Twin Chimneys landfill here in Greenville County, and landfill records are helping. But investigators say it's still going to take some time because they want to be as methodical as possible.
There are trucks coming in every day, every hour, and they unload, and then that trash is compacted, covered. So it's a process that the landfill uses that we are now having to literally dig through trash that has already been landfilled in an effort to try to find the body.
Search for the remains of Kelsey Barrett in the Midwest.
In that case, that little boy was found after a few days. So at that time, I was just very hopeful they would still find Quinton, which they did. Thank God.
Way landfill cost the city of Woodland Park $80,000. That money covered equipment, fuel, personnel, food, and more. Woodland Park Police Chief Miles DeYoung says the cost could have been more if not for the help of several community partners. He said 200 people representing 40 agencies helped with that 51-day search. Unfortunately, they did not find any trace of Barrett.
Saturday from the investigation team indicating that they were interested in a load of trash that came from a dumpster that was located at the rest area off of Interstate 75, just north of Cincinnati. With this in mind, we sectioned off an area of the landfill. On Sunday, we received the call that they wanted to do an investigation today. So the investigation began at 10 a.m. this morning, and right now we're kind of sifting through the garbage from that particular route, that particular area of the landfill where that.
And as they're sifting, their big machines are driving over it as well. I mean, they have to. So just think of all the compacting that his little body went through or possibly went through. It's heartbreaking.
That waste was deposited, and they're looking for any type of physical evidence that might be related to the missing person's case. Aside from this being a challenging day for weather, we have heavy winds and rain, cooler temperatures. The search itself is a massive endeavor. This facility services a 60-mile radius. On average, we receive about 7,000 tons of trash per day. Now we know or have a good idea of where this particular load is in the landfill, but nevertheless, it's a challenging search because there's a lot of garbage in there. It's about an acre and it's about 15 feet deep. So they're going to be sifting through a large area of garbage.
It's quite an undertaking. You're talking about some major equipment. You're talking about major time commitment. And you're talking about lots of money.
The search of this Commerce City landfill will be meticulous, long, and tedious.
We're in this for the long haul. I mean, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. We have literally people going through it by hand.
Landfills have very good record keeping as far as where things are put in a landfill.
Former Denver police officer Jonathan Priest has done his own landfill searches and says once you start digging, you look for items that confirm you're in the right place.
Dates on newspapers, letters that have addresses consistent with the location where a victim may have last been seen.
It's unpleasant, but we feel like it's one of those things that we have to do.
But still, Priest says finding a body in a landfill is far from easy.
Even though you might think that a body is going to be easy to see, it won't. They can be quite disguised.
Today, Phoenix police began what will be an extensive search through a landfill where they're hoping to find her remains.
This landfill is massive, but Phoenix police have been able to narrow down a very specific section of it where they believe Christine's body may be. It's a massive undertaking, hidden just under the surface of this dirt, 2,600 acres of waste.
Our investigators have done a very meticulous job in getting evidence, and we do have evidence that points to the fact that she was taken to a landfill.
Because of regulations requiring landfills to keep specific records of where trash goes on any given day, investigators have been able to narrow down the search from 2,600 acres to an area a little bigger than a football field, about 500 feet by 120 feet and 14 feet deep.
We use GPS on all of the heavy equipment out there, so they know exactly where that trash has been dumped and where it has been pushed.
Dump trucks will take sections of trash to an open field where 30 officers, with the help of 2 cadaver dogs, will meticulously comb through every piece of trash. Any trash from the area Mustafa lived in would end up here.
Searchers only have one chance. Once that dirt
is
sifted through, if we miss her and that dirt gets carried away, we're done.
There have been similar searches done in the past. Police searched a landfill in 2012 for Jessie Shockley, a missing Glendale girl. Police believe her mother, Doris Hunter, killed her, put her body in a suitcase, and dumped it in the trash. But after 10 weeks of searching, in that case, nothing was ever found.
There is always that possibility. We're optimistic because of the detectives' work that they have done, and the area that we were able to identify at the landfill is relatively small compared to that of the one where we searched for Jesse Shockley.
This is just going over risks for the searchers. Concerns were cave-ins as the digging progressed and hazardous. And then it's just talking about all the chemicals they might encounter. I'll drop the link for this, but let me go to the end here. It's very rare to actually find a body in the landfill once they start searching.
For why she hasn't been arrested yet.
Because we're not ready to charge anyone yet. We still have.
Oh, hang on, they're back.
I'm doing fine, thank you. Oh, we need Miss Simon.
Bring Miss Simon. I'll play your thing, Maniacs, though, after this. Hey, Samus. I know, you're not human to just disregard human life, let alone human life you created, like a piece of trash. I can't.
Tim?
Honorable Judge Stokes looks like she could read you for filth if she wanted to.
All right, let the record reflect that Ms. Simon has rejoined her counsel at counsel's table. The state is present as well. Mr. Hilliard, you asked to take a short break with your co-counsel?
We did. I discussed it with Mr. Person. I think we're going to wait and do the cross of Detective Lemons. She's going to be recalled later on. And to me, it makes more sense to do it all at one time than to try and break it up. I think it's less effective if I break it up. So I'll just discuss it with Mr. Person. That's what we're going to do. As far as the next witness, I think the next witness, just to be completely candid, I don't know how long the state plans to take. It will be a minute probably with me.
Okay.
I still think today's probably still a good time to take a break today since it's the middle of the week. We have Thursday and Friday, but I'll leave that with the court.
Let me turn to Mr. Dean.
They just came back, Tater, so basically nothing yet, just the fact that he's going to wait on cross-examining Detective Lemons, and now they're discussing whether they should start this next person today or not.
The next witness is Daniel Youngkin, defendant's boyfriend.
It is Danny. We suspected. Yep, so Danny's up next.
Time. We're ready to call him. He's here. He's been waiting.
Oh.
We are ready to proceed. We started it, after 10 today, and we've only taken one complete witness.
We've got a little bit of a late start today. Let's press on with Daniel Youngkin. He's here. He's ready.
Here we go.
He's ready.
All right.
Ready.
Yeah, I just have, because he's a civilian witness and not a police officer, I would like to have one moment to again caution him against testifying about any inadmissible material.
Yes.
In the hallway.
Okay.
Thank you.
You may do so. And when Mr. Dean comes back, we'll prepare to bring the jury in.
All righty. We have Daniel Youngkin up. This one's going to be good. I doubt they'll get through him today. So I will drop Jen Lou's channel. She's going to stream the trial tomorrow. So we can finish it over there. I'm just updating the banner here. He said he was there and excited, ready and waiting.
Is the state ready to proceed?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and with that, the defense is indicating
Yes.
that it's ready as well.
We're ready as well.
Okay, Thank you. Please bring in the jurors.
So Danny or Daniel, whichever they call him by, is the youngest baby's dad. He was her current boyfriend. I don't know how long they'd been together, but at least a year. I mean, 9 months for a pregnancy. Baby S was almost 4 months old, I believe. So they'd been together at least a year.
Jurors entering.
I'm watching her face.
All clear, Judge.
All right, thank you. Ladies and
What is
gentlemen,
it?
please have a seat.
I didn't catch it, Jenny. I'll have to go
And
back
once
and watch.
again, were you able to comply with the court's instructions? All right, excellent. I indicated that we were reaching a point. We have one other witness that is going to be presented today. The state's going to call another witness. And Mr. Hilliard will have an opportunity to cross-examine if he chooses to do that. And then I expect that we will close for today and resume again tomorrow. Mr. Hilliard, I know you wanted to put something on the record.
I did, Judge. I'm just going to reserve my cross-examination of Detective Lemons until she's recalled, but I will cross-examine this next week.
All right, fair enough. Thank you. Mr. Dean, please call your next witness.
Daniel Youngkin.
Okay, I am gonna tease you guys, sorry, but I am gonna go ahead and hop back over to Court TV. They do have much better audio, even with the boost that we got. This is it's less background noise in my
All right,
opinion.
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please have a seat. And once again, were you able to comply with the court's instructions? All right, excellent. I indicated that we were reaching a point. We have one other witness that is going to be presented today. The state's going to call another witness.
Sorry.
And Mr. Hilliard will have an opportunity to cross-examine if he chooses to do that. And then I expect that we will close for today and resume again tomorrow. Mr. Hilliard, I know you wanted to put something on the record.
I did, Judge. I'm just going to reserve my cross-examination of Detective Lemons until she's recalled, but I will
I know.
this next week.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
It's a lot
Mr.
better
Dean,
though.
please call your next witness.
Daniel Youngkin.
Thank you perfectly for reminding us. Oh, well, hello, hubby. She was trying, she did not. There is Daniel check.
State's clerk, raise your right hand.
The evidence you shall give the court and jury in the trial of this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Step this way for me, please.
All right, good afternoon.
Hi.
Mr. Dean.
Good afternoon. Please introduce yourself to the jury.
Yeah, I'm Daniel Youngkin.
And do you go by Danny typically?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it all right if I call you Danny?
By all means.
Where do you currently live, Danny? Not the street address, but city and state.
Orlando, Florida.
And how long have you lived there?
Since April of last year.
Hey, Choppy.
Where are you from originally?
Like, where was I born? Or
Yeah.
I was born in Germany.
And where,
We
would you
spotted.
have a parent in the military or something?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and who was that?
My biological father.
Where did you grow up?
Essentially Dunn, North Carolina,
Dunn, North Carolina?
for the main part.
For the court reporter, is that D-U-N-N?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to draw your attention to the defendant here. Do you know the defendant, Leilani Simon?
Yes, sir.
And how do you know her?
She's Sky's mother, my
Mo-
daughter.
Mother of your child?
Yeah.
When did you first meet her?
Maybe 2020 or something like that.
And how did you first meet her?
She drove up to North Carolina from here to see me.
Had y'all had some contact, not in person, I guess, before that?
Yes, sir.
How did y'all first, so you're talking about the first in-person meeting, if I understand you correctly?
Yes, sir.
How did y'all know each other before that?
Some social media network, something like that, like Snapchat or something.
You're saying you had met online?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what you remember about that?
Honestly, not much. Just speaking with her over social media and arranging a meeting.
Let's go back to that first time you met in person in North Carolina. Can you describe that for me?
Yeah, she drove up in her friend's car to see me in North Carolina, and I was at my job where I was currently working.
Where were you working at that point?
Love's Travel Stop off of Hodges Chapel Road in Dunn.
Okay. So you said she came to see you at work?
Yeah, I was trying to get off that day so we could hang out.
And did y'all end up hanging out that day?
Yeah, I think, yeah, she stayed at night with me.
Okay. And was that a one night stay at that time or multiple nights or what?
I believe at the time it was a one night stay.
Okay. And after that, after staying with you for that one night, where did she go?
Back down here, I believe.
At some point, did she move up there and begin living with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did she have children at that point?
Yes, sir.
Did they come up and live with you as well?
No, sir.
What was your understanding of where they were at that time?
With her mother.
Okay. Now, where were y'all living when she moved up to North Carolina and started living with you?
In my parents' house.
Okay. And did she eventually get a job up there?
Yes, sir.
And where was that?
She had two separate jobs that she was working for at different time periods.
Okay. Can you tell us what they were?
One was at Love's Travel Stop on the gas station side, and the other one was Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue, where I used to be a manager at.
Okay. And I'm not sure I understood. Was she working those jobs at
Separate times.
Separate times. What was the first one?
Love's Travel Stop.
Okay. And you mentioned that you worked.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay. Did y'all work there at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay. So y'all overlapped at Love's?
Yes, we worked sometimes, like occasionally work the same shift on different sides of the store. I was working at the Subway there, but normally it'd be different shifts.
And you're living in your parents' house with her?
Yeah.
About how long did that go on for?
I don't want to make I don't remember, to be 100% honest.
At some point, did the two of y'all move down here to Savannah?
Yes, sir.
And where did y'all move into?
The house on Buckhalter Road.
Did y'all ever live in any other residence in Savannah, or was that the first place y'all moved back to?
No, that was it.
Okay. Who was living there at the time?
Her brother Joe was living there, and Thomas and Billy were there, living there, but they weren't there. They were working a lot, so they were on the road.
Okay. At some point, did Joe move out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at some point, did Paul move in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Defendant's brother, Paul Simon.
Yes, sir.
So just a reminder that Joe also goes by the name Michael. That's where we all kept getting confused. I don't know which one's his first name, which one's his second name, but he goes by both Joe and Michael. And that was the one I pointed out in the previous live that was there on day one, but I have not seen him since. And look at that side eye towards Leilani. Ooh, dang, that was a perfect pause.
When or where were y'all living at the time that the defendant gave birth to your child, Scott?
Buckhalter.
Okay, so y'all were living in Savannah at that time.
Yes, sir.
What do you remember about the birth of Scott?
It was fast and enlightening for me, I guess.
Before Sky was born, and you were living in Savannah at the Buckhalter house, were Zane and Quinton living there as well?
Yes.
Was that the first time that you met Zane and Quinton when you moved down here with the defendant, or had you already met him during the time?
I had met Quinton before.
So let's go to the time period where you're living in Savannah in the Buckhalter house with the defendant and the three children, Zane, Quinton, and newborn Sky. What was your relationship like with her two older children, Zane and Quinton?
Good. Loved them like they were my own.
What do you remember about Zane?
Lots of energy, and liked to play a lot, and had a lot to say. Didn't really know how to say a whole lot, but had a lot to say.
What do you remember about Quinton?
Pretty much the same thing, honestly. And he was a lot more. He was more chill, I guess, than Zane. Zane was more high energy, but Quinton always had a lot he wanted to say and play with his brother a lot.
I see it. As I've asked you these questions about the children, I noticed that you seem to be smiling a bit. Do you remember them fondly?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you about work in Savannah. When you first got down here, about how long did it take before you got a job?
I actually transferred from the Love Travel Stop in North Carolina to the one and worked at the Hardee's there.
And was the defendant
More emotion than her.
Yeah, I think she was working at this gas station off of 204, I think.
Now, moving forward to the time frame of Quinton's disappearance, okay? And I want to ask you about October 2022. Do you remember the day of the 911 call and all that?
Yeah, I do, but vaguely, but yeah.
In that general time frame, where were you working?
I was working at a warehouse for a company named Eclipse.
And where was that warehouse located?
What's that? Port Town? I forgot the name of the town.
Is it Port Wentworth?
Yeah, I didn't want to sound crazy. Yeah, that's what I think so.
And was the defendant working there as well?
Yes, sir.
What shift did you all work during that time period? What were your hours?
First, worked from like 6 or 6:30 to like 3 or something like that.
And what about Paul? Was he working there as well?
Yes, sir. He was working the second shift.
And do you remember roughly what his hours were?
Yeah, I actually think we worked till like 2. I'm not 100%, but his were like 2 to 10 or something like that.
Okay. 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. roughly.
Yes, sir.
Would Paul probably be a better person to ask about that?
Probably.
October 4th, specifically, the day before the 911 call. Okay, I want to ask you about that day specifically. Did you go to work that day?
The day before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And
No, maybe. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember. I know I took her to get her tooth pulled that morning.
The morning before the 911 call?
Yeah.
Okay. But you're saying you don't remember whether you were before that?
I don't remember 100%. I'm not gonna.
That's fine. What do you remember about The defendant, taking the defendant to get her tooth pulled?
Early oh yeah, I think we were at work that day and we left because her tooth was hurting. And then I took her to the dentist and she got her tooth pulled that day. And yeah, that was pretty much that.
What car were you driving?
The Dodge Journey.
And do you remember where the dentist was that you went to, or what it was called?
I do not. I barely remember the Savannah area.
Did you stay there with her while she had her dental work done?
In the general area. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to be back there.
Okay, what do you mean by the general area?
I went to the liquor store while she was getting her tooth pulled.
And did you end up driving her home?
Yes.
So after you went to the liquor store, did you come back to the dentist office that she was at?
Yes, sir.
I guess this is as good a time as any to talk about this. At that point in time, were you a bit of a drinker?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that, please?
I liked Fireball.
Were you drinking every day at that point in time?
Unfortunately.
What about now?
No.
So you're at the dentist's office. Did she get her tooth pulled?
Yeah.
Okay. And at some point, did y'all leave?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Where did you go?
To get some food.
Do you remember where you went?
I believe it was Cheddar's or something. She wanted some soup.
Okay. And did y'all go anywhere after that?
I think back to the house. Or maybe we went to 204 or we went back to the house. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
Where were the kids at the time you got back to the house?
With the babysitter, Michelle.
And is that where they had been all day?
Yes, sir.
From before y'all went?
Yeah. That's why they were at Michelle's, because we wouldn't work.
Okay. Tell us about the process of getting the kids ready and dropping them off at Michelle's in the morning. How would that go?
Normally, I would get them ready and drop them off myself while she slept.
What do you mean? I thought y'all worked the same shift.
We did, but she tended to sleep in as late as possible. And I would normally get the kids ready and drop them off over there and then come back and get her.
Did you, when you would take them to the babysitter, I understand she lived pretty close to y'all's house.
Across the street.
Would you walk them over there or drive?
No, I'd drive them. That would be a little rough to try and carry Sky and walk the other two little ones across the street at the same time.
I see.
Which that does align with what Michelle told us during some of her interviews, that Danny was typically the one to bring the kids and not Leilani.
The morning before the 911 call, the day of the trip to the dentist, had you done that in the morning?
Drove them over, yes.
Yeah, okay. And let's go back to Cheddar's. You left the dentist, you've gone to Cheddar's to get some soup for the defendant.
I believe it was close by, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure.
And after Cheddar's, you said you came home, right?
Yeah.
What happened after you got home? What did the rest of the day look like as far as you remember?
To be honest, I really don't, other than I know she went to sleep and I tried to clean up a little bit and stuff before I went and picked up the kids, and then picked up the kids and came back and kind of just followed suit.
And do you remember when you picked up the kids?
Not the exact time, no. But I know the general time was around 4:30 or 5 is when I was supposed to.
Yeah, he's extremely nervous, and the I'm not gonna lie, or I'm just being honest, that's not coming across the best.
I'd like to approach with what I marked as State's Exhibit 85. Your Honor. Take a look at that. Do you recognize the document that I just handed you?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Text messages between me and Michelle, the babysitter.
Did you text Michelle about picking the children up that day, October 4th?
Yes.
All right. Does this document that I've given you fairly represent your text messages with Michelle during this time frame?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd offer this in as State's Exhibit 85.
Mr. Hilliard?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, States 85 is admitted.
Can you look at that and tell me when you texted Michelle about when you were going to pick the children up on October 4th?
At 2:32 p.m., I texted her and said, "We just got home. She got her Leilani got her top wisdom tooth removed, top left wisdom tooth removed. I'm gonna try and clean for a few while she naps. She's still loopy from the meds. Is 4:30 still okay?"
I agree. I'm not saying like he's doing anything or he's guilty or anything like that. I'm just saying the I'm not gonna lie, like the repeating of those phrases does not come across well. But I can tell it's from nerves too.
Then what did Michelle say?
Okay, 4:30.
And did you end up picking up the children around that time?
Around that general time, yeah. But I think it might have been 5 o'clock or something like that, but general time frame, yes.
And did you bring them home?
Yes.
So now we're in kind of the late afternoon. And who's in the house?
Me, Leilani, and the Quinton, Sky, and Zane.
And was Paul at work during this time frame, as far as you know?
Yeah.
Did you make any trips away from the house to get a beer or go to Redbox or anything like that?
Probably.
Okay. And what do you remember about dinner that night?
I think I might have remade some spaghetti, added another can of sauce and more meat and stuff like that to some spaghetti I made the day before or something like that.
Did the defendant participate in preparing dinner that day from what you remember?
Not from what I remember.
What was she doing?
To be honest, whatever she normally did, I kind of tried to not stress myself out too much about whatever she was doing.
Now, how was Quinton during the time frame that we're talking about? Dinner time?
Fine.
Time frame?
Perfectly fine.
Nothing out of the ordinary?
No, not at all.
After dinner, at some point did y'all get the kids ready for bed and put them down? Or one or both of you?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
What do you remember about that? Try to put yourself back in that house and tell me what you remember about the bedtime routine.
I really don't, to be honest. I was not fully. I probably just the normal, get them changed into their night clothes and make sure they're all cleaned up and fed, and Zane would have his little tablet and Quinton would have his tablet, and they just watch TV until they fell asleep.
Now, from this point forward, did you leave the house again that night at any point?
No.
And did the defendant?
Yes, sir.
What is the first trip that you remember her taking?
To 204.
Did the two of y'all talk about that? She say anything to you before she left?
Yeah, she told me she was doing that.
Do you remember what led up to her leaving? Anything about that?
No,
That's
not
fine.
really.
And what were you doing at the time that she left for 204?
Laying in bed,
What were the children doing?
laying down as well.
Where were each of the three children in the house?
Zane was on his race car bed. Sky was on the couch or in her swing, and Quinton was in his playpen.
At the time that the defendant left for 204, was Quinton okay?
Yeah.
Did anything at all out of the ordinary happen to that point?
No.
And what happened, what was going on while she was gone on that trip to 204?
I think I fell asleep.
Anything unusual happened with the children while she was gone?
No. Oh, well, I was getting ready to fall asleep, and then Paul came home.
Oh, okay. Paul came home at some point when you were,
Yeah.
well, if I understand it correctly, while the defendant was gone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me about Paul coming home.
He came into the room and asked where Leilani was, and I told him where she was, and then he said okay, and then he went and got some food for himself from the fridge or the freezer, and just ate, I guess, and chilled.
When you say he came into the room, what do you mean? What room are we talking about?
The downstairs portion of the house where we were residing.
The bedroom that the
Yeah.
five of y'all lived in together, you, Leilani, and the three children?
Yeah, like 2 bedrooms, but yeah,
Where were you when Paul came into the room?
in the bed.
And where were the children?
On the other side of the room in their beds.
Were they okay at that point?
Yeah.
Do you remember Paul having any interaction with the three children when he came in?
Not 100%, no, but he might have said something to Zane. Might have said hey to Zane or something.
At some point, did Paul go upstairs? I think you mentioned something about him going to eat.
Yes, sir.
What do you remember about that?
I wasn't in there, so I don't really remember. I just know he was in the kitchen for a second, and I couldn't see what he was doing. So.
Did you see him again after that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. At some point, did he go upstairs and confine himself to his room?
I would imagine so, since I stayed in the room in the bed, but yeah, I would say yes.
Now, do you remember the defendant getting home from the 204 trip?
No,
And why is that?
I was asleep.
What's the next memory you have of that night or morning?
Waking up, and she was beside me, and that was that.
At the time that you went to sleep, was Quinton okay?
Yeah.
Had anything at all happened at that point?
Not to my knowledge.
And let's talk about the night. Do you remember seeing or hearing anything during the night?
No, I don't.
Do you remember waking up to anything unusual or anything like that?
No.
Had you had anything to drink that night?
I would imagine so.
Why do you say that?
Because that was my daily routine.
What was your daily routine like in terms of drinking? I know you said earlier, I asked you to kind of talk about your drinking. You said you like Fireball, but a little more specifically, what would you drink on a daily basis?
Probably over the course of the day, probably like four or five shots of Fireball and like 3 or 4 25-ounce beers.
And how much?
Okay, we need a little pause here anyway, but I just want to say that I'm very heartbroken for these three kids. They had a mom who was addicted and out and about doing all her things, and the man in their life sounds like perpetually drunk every day. Even though he seemed like he was a functioning alcoholic, to be able to be the one to get them up and take them to the babysitters and whatnot. But oh, my heart is breaking for these kiddos. I do want to say it seems like he I don't know, just based on his appearance, he looks like he's in a healthier spot now.
Fireball and like 3 or 4 25-ounce beers.
And how much of that was after work in the afternoon and evening?
A majority.
So let's go to you waking up. Did you wake up naturally, or did you wake up in response to an alarm, or what?
Yeah, I think my alarm on my phone went off.
And where did you have your phone that night?
Maybe it was under my pillow. I don't know.
Why would it have been under your pillow?
She had a tendency of going through my things.
What do you mean?
She would, without my knowledge, take my devices and go through them, and I felt it was invasive.
Why was she doing that?
She had this idea that I was wronging her.
How were things between the two of you at this time?
There wasn't much there. I was there for Sky.
So you think you had an alarm set and your phone might have been under your pillow? Is that kind of where we left off?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you get up, what do you do?
Normally try and be quiet so I don't wake any of the kids up. And I tried to wake her up, but she was, normally if I do that, I'd either get yelled at or something like that. So I said, hey, are you going to work today? She'd be like, no. And that's when I proceeded to text Michelle and say that she was going to watch the kids. As in this exhibit here, it says, hey, the kids are going to stay here with her today, Miss Michelle.
And what time was that text sent?
5:20 a.m.
A moment ago, you were talking about what would happen in the morning when you get up for work and you try to wake her up. And you said she would be like...
Oh, yeah, she'd yell at me or, yeah, pretty much I'd get yelled at.
Okay. By the phrasing, she would be like yelling at you, can I take from that this is something that this was not the first time this had happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell us about that? There's a history of this?
It's a pretty general thing at that time.
Tell me what you mean.
I would try and wake her up to go to work, and she would either yell at me for waking her up or say she's not going in, and she would make up the time and go in with Paul on his shift. It'd be a rare occasion for me not to get yelled at or that to happen.
Why was it during that time frame that you were able to get up and go to work as scheduled, and she would have these difficulties with that? What was going on?
I'm sorry, could you?
Why was it that you were able to get up to go to work and she was having these difficulties getting up, going to work during this time period? What was going on?
I would go to sleep and she wouldn't be there. So I just was kind of making sure that I could get a paycheck at that point. So I just kind of let her be her own person, of course. Well, not let her, but she would do whatever she did, and I would make sure that the kids were taken care of and that I'd make it to work at least somewhat on time.
So there are times you go to sleep at night so that you're able to get up for work and she's not there.
There were times that yeah.
And would she talk to you about where she had been?
I never asked.
Now, let's go back to that text message to Michelle. Were you, before you sent that text message to Michelle, had you been planning on taking the 3 children to Michelle's house that morning?
Yeah, the plan was because we missed the day before work for her tooth removal. And we both were scheduled for the next day for a shift. The plan was to drop the kids off and go to work with her
Were y'all salaried or hourly?
hourly.
So if you don't go to
It
work,
mattered.
you don't get paid.
It mattered.
Were y'all saving up for anything in particular at this point in time?
So, yeah, a place.
Tell me about that.
What would you like to know about it?
Well, what were y'all trying to do?
Oh, get our own place and out of her mother's house.
And why was that?
There were some complications going on that we were told we had to leave, so we were prepared for that.
And did
Trying to.
On the day that we're talking about, October 5th, 2022, did you all at that time have the money to go into your own place?
No.
Were you trying to accumulate the money to do that?
Yes.
What type of place were y'all planning to get? Apartment, house? What are we talking about?
Really whatever we could afford.
And is that something that y'all have been talking about in the days leading up to October 5th?
Yeah.
How much did y'all have to pay the babysitter? Well, first let me ask you, did you pay her?
Yeah.
And do you remember how much? Per day or per week or what?
Yeah, it says here, at the top of the exhibit where she sent me a text message saying, "Hey, I haven't been charging for Sky. I do this charge for newborns until they are 3 months. So I will have to start charging for Sky. So 45 a day is 225, but I'll charge y'all 200 for all three. That is still a good deal. Daycare would be way more
And that was going to be 200 how
a week,
often?
which is quite an expense.
For
5 days a week, that's what it was added up to. So
what was the date of that text message where Michelle told you that she was about to have to start charging separately for Sky?
October 3rd.
And prior to that, had y'all only been paying for Zane and Quinton?
Yeah.
So it was about to go up.
Mm-hmm.
So when she wouldn't wake up on the morning of October 5th, were you frustrated by that?
At that point, I just kind of blocked everything out and just made sure I made it work.
How did you get to work?
I drove the vehicle that her mother had bought for her,
Which vehicle was that?
the Dodge Journey.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary in the vehicle when you got in it?
No.
If there were fireball and curveball bottles in that vehicle at the time that police searched it, is it possible that those are attributable to you?
Yeah, quite likely.
Did you sometimes drink in the car?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would that be like while you were driving or when you were on break? Or
Unfortunately.
what do you remember about driving to work? Anything out of the ordinary?
No, nothing out of the ordinary. You're just trying to get there.
Getting out of the house that morning, when you left the house and got in the car, did you have any idea that Quinton was gone?
No.
Did you turn the lights on in that room before you left?
No, sir, I did not.
Why not?
I didn't want to wake any of them.
Did you believe that there were 3 sleeping children in that room when you woke up?
I did believe that.
Is it fair to say that you were kind of trying to sneak out without disturbing them?
Yeah, because if I wake them up, then it's a whole thing.
Did you look in Quinton's pack and play before you left?
No, I didn't.
You okay?
Yeah.
At some point during the investigation, was there a period of time where you told the police that you had seen him that morning?
Yes, sir.
Were you sure about that at the time you said it?
No.
And are you sure now that you didn't see him?
I didn't look.
I noticed that you seemed, I asked you if you looked and it seemed like you got a little emotional in response to that question. What is it about that question in particular that makes you upset?
I wish I looked. No, I don't know if it would have made it. I don't. Just wish I looked.
Anything out of the ordinary from your perspective when you're leaving the house that morning?
No, sir.
Anything out of the ordinary in terms of the drive to work?
No, sir.
Anything out of the ordinary in terms of arriving at work?
No.
And when you left the house to go to work, which door did you go out of?
The back door by the pool.
Is that the one where you have to walk out through the bathroom?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Now, did you work a full shift that day?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
I received a phone call from Leilani saying that Quinton was missing.
Where were you when you got that phone call?
In the back of a truck, loading it, because my job was to load 18-wheelers by hand.
So you're in a truck loading boxes and you get this call.
Yes, sir.
And what is your best recollection of what she said to you on that call?
Have you seen, or Quinton's not here? I'm pretty sure it just began with, where's Quinton? Where's my baby? Quinton's not here.
How long was that phone call, as far as you remember it?
From the time she called me to the time I got to Buckhalter.
And what were y'all talking about during that time period?
She was crying most of the time. I just stayed on the phone with her the whole time.
Did she tell you anything about what happened when she woke up?
The door was open or something, and Quinton wasn't in his playpen. And me trying to calm her down.
Going back to when you got this call and you left work, tell me about leaving work. What do you remember about it?
I ran out of there as fast as I could, and I actually left my jacket and a whole pack of cigarettes, which later on my boss mailed it to me, thankfully, and it still had the pack of cigarettes in it.
What's his name?
Dave.
Did you see Dave that morning?
Yeah, I passed him in the parking lot. I didn't say anything, but he stopped me and he said, "Hey, you can't run past security like that." And I explained what happened, and he said, "Okay," and I left.
Was this when you were on the way out?
So he never went back to work because the boss mailed him the jacket and the cigarettes. He's very vividly remembers that. Yeah, don't hate me in the chat, but my opinion, I don't have a good read on this guy. I don't know how I feel. I understand the lapse in memory from all the drinking at the time. His emotions of sorrow towards Quinton do seem genuine, absolutely. As for the day, he's kind of glossed over a few areas that I would have liked a little more detail on.
To go home?
Yes, sir.
There was security at the exit to the warehouse?
Yeah, there's security there when you go in and when you leave.
Why is there security when you go out?
I think they just stay there all day for people who come in.
Okay. And you're supposed to get checked out by security when you go out?
Well, you're supposed to talk with whoever your supervisor is, but I didn't even care to stop.
Okay. You just kind of blew by it?
Yeah.
I'd like to approach with what I have marked as State's Exhibit 30, Your Honor.
Okay.
Do you recognize this disc?
Yes, sir.
What is on this disc?
Me going into work and me leaving work.
You're referring to video recordings?
Yes, sir.
Do the recordings on this disc fairly and accurately depict your arrival to work that morning and your departure?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I would offer, yeah, it's fine. I would offer this as State's Exhibit 30. No objection.
All right, admitted without objection.
What does that mean he's gonna play?
Ask the court, does that mean you're about to play it? And I responded, yes.
Sorry.
It's okay. Everything is being recorded. Everything that we say is taken down.
Before I play it, Matt, is there any particular reason you asked that question?
I didn't understand what you said. Well, you said you presented the. I just didn't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
No apology necessary. Your Honor, I'm now going to publish from State's Exhibit 30 a file with the name IMG_0695.
All right, you may proceed.
Do you see yourself, before I play it here, and again,
Yeah.
I don't know why every video is sideways, but this one is. Do you see yourself in this video?
Yes, sir.
Where are you?
The bright orange.
What is that bright orange garment that you have on?
My North Face jacket.
Let me go back. Is the bright orange thing your North Face jacket, or is that a safety vest?
I believe that's my jacket. I believe that's my jacket.
Okay.
Because my jacket is bright orange.
You left your jacket with not the music in the background.
So is that you getting to work?
Yes, sir.
Anything abnormal at that time?
No, just looks like I was trying to get there and not be late.
Oh, it's him coming in.
I have a tendency to wait till the last second.
And I'll now play IMG_0697.
I know.
And what do we see in that video?
Me running very, very quickly. Without my jacket.
What did you think at this point was going on?
I wasn't sure. I had just received a phone call and was still on the phone with her, so I was just trying to get back to the house as soon as possible.
At some point, did you get home?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And did you talk to the defendant once you got there?
Yes, sir.
What was going on when you arrived at the house?
She was outside on the back porch crying.
Were the police there yet?
No, sir.
What did you all talk about at that point?
I asked her what was going on, really, like details, and what she thought happened and stuff like that.
You said she was on the back patio crying, if I understood you correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where on the back patio was she?
Underneath the, like, where the, sitting in a chair right outside the back door.
Yeah, by that wooden bar
Yeah,
structure?
that used to be there, yeah.
She was sitting down
Yes, sir.
on the back patio,
Yes, sir.
crying.
Yes, sir.
There are woods all around that house, right?
Yes, sir.
When you got home, was she not looking for Quinton?
No, sir.
What was she doing in the chair other than crying, if anything?
Crying, saying she didn't know where he was.
Had she called the police yet, to your knowledge?
No, sir.
At some point, were the police called?
Yes, sir.
And at some point, did Michelle come over there?
Yes, sir.
And her daughter, Talia, or one of her daughters?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how it was that Michelle knew to come over there?
Yes, sir. I called her.
When, in relation to your arriving home, did the police finally get called?
After I took a look around, I called Michelle and then called them, maybe? Yeah.
Is it fair to say it sounds like you don't necessarily remember who exactly called the police when?
Oh, no, I remember I called the police, but I believe Michelle was the first person that was called to see if she had maybe gotten Quinton or something.
Was Paul there when you got home?
I can't remember.
So let's talk about when the police get there. Okay, do you remember talking to some police officers in the driveway?
Yes, sir.
And the defendant was there, right?
Yes, sir.
Did she start talking about Quinton's father, Henry Bubba Moss Jr.?
Yes, sir.
Now, had she been talking to you about him before they arrived, or no?
She mentioned him.
When did she mention him? Was it when you were on the phone in the car, or after you had gotten home? Or
I believe it was when I got back to the house.
And what did she say about him that you remember?
That he had sent her a message saying that she didn't deserve to have Quinton.
Now, when was she saying that she had gotten those messages?
Maybe I think she said it was 2 weeks ago at that date.
Is this morning, the morning of Quinton being gone, was that the first you had heard of those messages?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so she's talking to you about something that supposedly happened a couple weeks ago. But you're saying she hadn't told you about that until this moment.
Correct.
Now, did you all talk during the time period between when you got home and when police arrived about what she had done during the night? Where if anywhere, she had gone?
No.
But there was some period of time between when you got home and when the police got there.
Yes, sir.
And then the police were there for quite a long time, right?
Till we went to the police station, and probably after that.
At some point, did you hear her tell a police officer that she had left the house sometime after 1 a.m. To get some Oragel from a friend at a Chevron?
Yeah, that's what she told the police officer. Yes, sir.
At the time she told that to the police officer, was that the first time you had heard that?
Yes, sir.
Ooh. Leilani. Her lawyer just said, stop doodling. No, I don't.
I'd like to show you a clip of body-worn camera footage that's been admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit 8, okay? Are you kind of oriented on what we're looking at here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
First of all, does this opening frame here depict the patio area where the defendant was sitting down at the time that you got home from work in the first place?
Is that where she was sitting when I got home?
Well, I mean, does anything in this image show where she was sitting down?
Yeah. The far left beside Paul, but Paul wasn't. I don't know where Paul was. She was sitting in the far left chair, the empty one.
And you're saying she was alone at that point?
Yes.
Okay. This is sometime later, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to play this for you now and ask you some questions about it.
Okay.
Have patience for sale. Patience out here. Did y'all go anywhere last night or yesterday with baby? That maybe he could have followed you or something to that effect? Y'all didn't go anywhere? Not even with my kids, no. No, just maybe you yourself. Yeah, I know. Because I got my chest full yesterday, so I went to some order, that was it. 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon? No, like morning. I couldn't go to sleep. Okay, so where'd you go? Right up the road, right there, that Chevron. I met my friend I used to work with. She had ordered milk because they didn't have any extra okay when I called. Okay. Did you go anywhere else that we maybe have been followed? So when did you get home?
We noticed this when they played this a couple days ago. See the way his head cocks when she's telling this story? It's just slightly. But this is Danny over here in the orange vest. Paul is there. He's sitting down in the chair. But his head cocks just slightly like, what?
Okay. Did you go anywhere else that we maybe have been followed? So when did you get home? I can tell you exactly the same thing.
Playback at 12:13:19 on the timestamp. Could you hear as you were standing there? First of all, is that you in the orange reflective vest there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Could you hear what she was saying to this officer? I mean, obviously the body cam picked it up, but could you hear it standing there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How were you feeling? What were you thinking as you heard her say this?
Well, you can see me tilt my head to the side as if I had no knowledge of what she was referring to.
Did it?
Hold it.
I mean, how did it strike you? How did this story strike you? What did you think?
What the hell? Sorry. Excuse my language. What the heck?
It's fine. You had no knowledge of this at the time.
Yes, sir.
You said that you tilted your head to the side when you first heard this story. Can you, I'm going to play it back, and I want to see if you can point out, first of all, show us what that looked like just from the stand.
Just like a tilt to the side, like what?
And if I play this back,
I'm going to pause so I can answer this question about whether S had drugs in her system. Yes. Z and S both had drugs in their system when they were born. Quinton was born out of state, therefore there's no CPS or anything, any involvement with him. He was born in a different state, so we don't know if he was born with drugs in his system or not. But assuming both Z and S had them in their system, it's a high likelihood that Quinton did as well.
Just like a tilt to the side, like what?
and if I play this back, can you point out to us where that happens in this video?
Yes, sir.
have patience. We're still. They just got here. Did y'all go anywhere last night or yesterday with baby? Maybe he could have followed you or something. Y'all didn't go anywhere?
Not even with my kids, no.
No, just you yourself.
Yeah, I know, because I got my check full yesterday, so you know, I went to go to the board, that was it.
2 o'clock yesterday afternoon?
No, like morning, I couldn't go to sleep.
Okay, so where'd you go?
Right up the road, right there, that Chevron. I met my friend that I used to work with, and she got bored milk because they didn't have any extra okay when I'm home.
Okay. Did you go anywhere else? Have you maybe been followed?
I'm pausing it because I see you pointing at the screen. That's 12, 13, 15. We can kind of see your head tilt to the side a little bit.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to play that one more time from just a couple seconds back for anybody that might not have caught it. Because you would agree that it is subtle, right?
Yes, sir. And he was moving around, so you could kind of, you have to pay attention to see it.
Okay. Did you go anywhere else? Have you maybe been followed? So when did you get home?
All right, so you had not seen that before, or you had not heard that before, I should say.
No, I haven't.
And your reaction was what the hell revised to what the heck? Right?
Yes, sir.
Did you all go to the police station?
Yes, sir.
And did you cooperate with an interview or perhaps multiple interviews that day?
Quite a few.
Did the police ask you for consent to search your phone?
Yeah.
And did you agree to that?
By all means.
Did that concern you at all?
Not one bit.
After the police station that day, where did you go?
Back to Buckhalter.
And a few days later, did you come in to the FBI office in Savannah for a follow-up interview?
Yes, sir.
Now, between the first day's interviews and those follow-up interviews, had the FBI asked you to do anything in particular as it relates to the defendant?
Yes, sir.
And what was that? Let me ask you this. Did the FBI propose to you that they put you up in a hotel room and that they wire that hotel room up for audio and video?
Yes, sir.
And did they tell you why it was that they wanted to do that?
Yes, sir.
What was it? What was the reason for this?
To collect evidence against Leilani.
Did you know at this point what had happened to Quinton?
No, sir. I had, I just know what I was told.
And did you agree to this monitoring of the hotel room?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any concerns about doing that?
No, none at all.
Did you have any concerns about you yourself getting in trouble from something that might be said on that recording by one or the other of you?
Not at all. Wait, by me? No.
Did you?
Exactly, Jinlu. The rumor that was going around at the time was that he took off 2 days later, and this rumor was perpetuated by family members of Leilani. But the rumor was that he took off to Atlanta to hook up with some girl, all this stuff. And here it was, the FBI put him up in a hotel room to record audio to collect evidence. Just another thing that, another unnecessary piece of drama out there on these streets.
Not at all. Wait, by me? No.
Did you sign paperwork agreeing to this?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to approach with what I've marked as State's Exhibit 31. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Me initialing for permission for them to bug the hotel room, quote unquote.
And does that document have your signature on it?
Three places where
We don't know if it was 2 days later. That was what the rumor was going around at the time. Hopefully they'll clarify when it was exactly. You got to remember that first day is full of chaos. They're in and out of the police station. They're sent to, they went to a hotel room together that first night, or her grandma's, I can't remember which one, that first night. And you're still probably just kind of all processing this. Also, you know, a child you looked at, like your kid is missing, so you're stressed about that. So, I mean, 2 days isn't unreasonable in my book. Before you're like, you can tell with that head tilt right there, he's already like, wait, what the? You went somewhere last night? What the heck is going on? And I bet it did. And again, please don't judge me for saying this. He doesn't appear to be the sharpest tool in the shed, so it might have taken him a little extra minute as well. And then compound the drinking in with it. Yeah, he got out of there quick, though, in my book.
unquote.
And does that document have your signature on it?
Three places where I initialed.
And when does it reflect in terms of the date that you agreed to do this?
10/7/2022.
Now, did you all go through with this?
Yes, sir.
Now, before agreeing to this, let me ask you this. After the first day of interviews, you all leave, but before the follow-up interviews at the FBI office, did you talk to her about that night and what had happened?
I'm so sorry.
It was a long, kind of convoluted question. I'll try again. So y'all go in on October 5th, and you're interviewed by the police at the police department.
Correct.
At some point, y'all leave, right?
Yes, sir.
And then at some point, y'all are in a bugged hotel room.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Between those two things, between leaving the police station on day one and the hotel room operation, I'll call it, were you and the defendants together with each other?
Yes, sir.
Right. And were you talking to her at that point about like what had happened to Quinton and where she had been that night?
Yeah.
Did she ever? Did you ask her about this Oragel story that she had told the police on the scene?
No, not in detail.
Did you ask her about that during the hotel room thing?
Yes, sir.
And did she repeat it to you?
Repeat denying it?
Well, keep saying that that's what she had been doing.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, yes, sir. I don't know where my head was at when I was saying that.
Ms. King, you might want to ask that again.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure that Mr. Youngkin understood.
Were you skeptical of the Oragel story?
Yes, sir.
When you're in the hotel room with her, did you ask her about
Yes, sir.
it? And what did she say about it?
That's what she did.
That it was true?
Yes, sir. And she stuck to it. Sorry about that.
I'd like to approach with what I marked as State's Exhibit 32, Your Honor. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes, sir.
And what's on it?
Recording of the hotel,
Right.
the room that we were in.
Just a couple selections, right?
Yes, sir.
Does it fairly and accurately depict some of your interactions in the hotel room with the defendant?
Quite well.
And I would offer this into evidence as State's Exhibit 32, Your Honor.
Objection. Exhibit 32 is admitted without objection.
And I would introduce 31 at this point, Your Honor, to the consent form.
No objection to that.
All right, very well, it is admitted.
And there are 5 files on this disk. The first 4 are each about a minute long, and then the last one is about 7 minutes long. I'll start with the first one. The file name beginning 1941.
So can I ask you a question? Do you mind? Are you gonna get mad? I'm asking you a question before I ask you this question. No, because I need to know. Are you gonna get angry? I can't tell you.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and try to boost this up a little bit for us. So I won't speak because I'm gonna turn it up way loud.
Do you mind? Are you gonna get mad? I'm asking you a question before I ask you this question. No, because I need to know. Are you gonna get angry? I can't tell you don't get angry, but I don't know the question. Why did you lie to me? About the Oreo? I didn't. I did not lie to you about the Oreo. So you went and met Misty? Yes, and I drove in and I drove out. And they tried to say that again, and I asked them to show me a picture of Misty or whatever. Did y'all speak to my phone lady? Did you speak to her? Did you speak to her husband? Is what I wanted to know. You know? And they said her husband. Why didn't you speak to her?
So he asked her, "Why did you lie to me?" She said she didn't lie. He said, "Did you really go and meet Misty?" She says that she did go meet Misty. And now she's telling him that she asked the officers, "Did you speak to her or did you speak to her husband?" And apparently they said they spoke with her husband. And she was like, "Why'd you speak with her husband, not her?" Which we know that's a lie. Just filling you guys in on what's said here.
You know? And they said her husband. Why didn't you speak to her?
I want to stop.
So can I ask you a question? Do you mind? Are you gonna get mad? I'm asking you a question before I ask you this question. No, because I need to know. Are you gonna get angry? I can't tell you don't get angry, but I don't know the question. Why did you lie to me? About the Oreo? I didn't. I did not lie to you about the Oreo. So you went and met Misty? Yes, and I drove in and I drove out. And they tried to say that again, and I asked them to show me a picture of Misty or whatever. Did y'all speak to my phone lady? Did you speak to her? Did you speak to her husband? Is what I wanted to know. You know? And they said her husband. But
I paused it at 1942:17 on the timestamp. And the timestamp reflects that this was on October 8th of 2022, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you catch there what she said about what police told her about who they had interviewed?
She said they interviewed her husband.
She said police told her that they had only interviewed Misty's husband.
Well, yeah.
That's what she told you, at least.
Yes, sir.
And I'll pick up the playback again.
No, there is Oreo in it. There's Oreo in it. No, I did not lie. I didn't lie to you about that. So you went and got Oreo? I went and got Oreo. Pull it in and pull it out, just like I told you last night. And then they questioned me again about that? Yeah. That's the only thing that happened.
We heard you say there that there was Oreo in there. I'll give you that. What were you referring to?
There was Oreo behind the mirror in the house,
And
in the bathroom.
When did you see that Oreo?
The day, the 5th, I believe.
Okay, so like after, was it after you all had been at the police station?
Yeah, no, maybe. I'm not gonna act like I remember 100%. but I know it was there. I think there was 2 tubes, like an empty tube and one that had some in it.
And where'd you say it was?
Behind the mirror in the downstairs bathroom connected to the room.
The second file here with the file name starting with 2013. We'll publish that.
So what did you do when you left? At 1 in the morning. What did you do? That's what you did? Yes. You can look me in my eyes. I am looking you in your eyes, Danny. That is what I did. You can look that me in. That is what I did. Just don't. You don't want to yell. Look at me in my eyes too. That is what I did. There was nothing else that I did. I came home and I went to bed, and I woke up to my baby gone. Do you understand me? So you didn't do anything else? No, nothing else at all. I was gone for 12 minutes. And who did you meet? Misty. You met Misty? Yes.
She has such a tell. Like, as the point that she's lying on is when she gets aggressive and screams it because she wants you to believe what she is telling you. We have watched her do it through every interview.
That's what I did. There was nothing else that I did. I came home and I went to bed, and I woke up to my baby gone. Do you understand me? So you didn't do anything else? No, nothing else at all. I was gone for 12 minutes. And who did you meet? Misty. You met Misty? Yes.
And now the third file, starting with 2017.
That's like, oh, family believes me more than my man does at this point. I just don't know everything. You do. Nobody knows everything. The only thing we don't know is what happened to Quinton. So what did happen in your thoughts? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I have no idea what to fathom. I cannot make up something in my head about what could possibly happen. I have no idea what happened to that baby. I'm asking you, as a man to my woman, what do you think may have happened? Yeah. I'm just, and we ain't talking in a minute about what could have happened. But we did spoke about it last night, and I have no idea what could have happened. I don't care about what could have happened. I want to know what happened. So where's he at? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about shit. No, you just sat there and said, so where's he at? I'm getting picked up. I'm doing what I feel about me. No. The first only person I'm sitting here wanting the love and support from that I thought would be on my side 100% is on the fucking FBI side.
I want to hear this again. I'm sorry, you guys. If this is what you get over here at this channel, as Bendy says, we're gonna go back and listen again. Feel free to head to Court TV directly. But seriously though, her tell is exactly the same. Make note of the points where she is raising her voice and getting aggressive and what she's saying.
That's like, oh, family believes me more than my man does at this point. I just don't know everything. You do. Nobody knows everything. The only thing we don't know is what happened to Quinton. So what did happen in your thoughts? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I have no idea what to fathom. I cannot make up something in my head about what could possibly happen. I have no idea what happened to that baby. I'm asking you, as a man to my woman, what do you think may have happened? Yeah. I'm just, and we ain't talking in a minute about what could have happened. But
I bought relief. No. If there's an only person I'm sitting here wanting the love and support from that I thought would be on my side 100% is on the fucking FBI side.
Oh.
And the fourth file, with file name beginning 2025.
Well, go smoke your cigarette out. I'll wait till you calm down a little bit.
I just wish I would have sitting here and possibly talking about the bar stuff in my life. You sat here and explained the only thing that you did not know that I did. And I explained it. Last night and tonight.
How you did what?
Went and got Orgel.
That I didn't know about.
That's the only thing you didn't know. That when I left you at 204, you were awake. When I got back, you were awake.
From 204?
Yes.
Okay. But not from here.
Not from that. I like shook you and said, I'm going to go get Orgel. You said, I was like, all right, whatever. I'm up. I came back.
Okay. And you remember that clearly?
I remember that clear as day. You made that little sound that I hate you fucking doing.
Okay. Okay.
She wants him to believe it. That's why she's in his face.
Started 2029.
Instead of possibly saying that, what, because I just need support? That I'm asking for your love and support and not your questions and doubt?
I'm asking you questions so I can understand.
But how many times do you have to ask me the same question about the same time, just like the fucking FBI does?
Okay, so it's just like the FBI, but you don't talk to me.
Yes, I have. I just sat here and explained to you.
You just talk.
I told you about it yesterday too, about what I did. You made me promise that too.
Okay, so you promised me with your pinky promise.
Yes.
That you went and got Orgel.
And I went and got Orgel from Missy. I pulled in the neighborhood and I turned around and I went home.
You didn't go nowhere
I
else.
didn't go anywhere else.
You didn't do anything.
Nothing at all. Nothing.
Okay. Go smoke your cigarette. I love you.
I think what you're going to do is you don't know the FBI in your head, and now they got you over here questioning me.
No.
It's exactly what it is. Danny,
No,
this is one of the hardest times of my life, and I did not need you to question me. I need your love and affection and support, and somebody sitting there telling me that we're going to find him, that it's going to be okay, that they're going to do their job.
We're going to find him. We're going to find Quinton. They are going to find Quinton. They're going to find him.
I hope they do.
I do too. I really do.
So they told me that they still didn't have any leads.
They told you they didn't have none?
Yep.
Makes sense.
What did they tell you?
That they didn't have anything they could tell me. And it's aggravating.
It's frustrating as hell.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You just stand there and go split your spirit. Let me question you that way. Like you have a good question twice as hard as I have.
Twice as hard? Nah, baby. I'm the only other person in that house that's involved. You don't think I got interrogated like a goddamn fucking... Bro, you know that.
It's funny to you.
Oh, it's funny because you think that I'm sitting here not in the same position as like you think that the shit is a game to me, but I don't. You. Woo, boy. My life. You gonna call somebody to pick you up? That's what you're doing? Alright. That's all you do.
I wanted to come in here and I wanted to lay
Well, I
down,
wanted you to
and
chill.
I wanted to be comforted. I wanted to be sat there and told that we're gonna do our best and that we're gonna do what we gotta do.
We are.
I did not want to sit here and be questioned the second time in a row by you about 1 o'clock.
The second night in a row, and it's not 1 o'clock. It's 8:30.
About 1 a.m.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what Life 360 said.
It wasn't 1 a.m.
It was like 1:15.
And I got back at 1:25. I was gone for 12 minutes. It was
And you went and met Misty.
Went and met Misty, got Orangeville.
And you said they talked to her?
I think so, yes.
What did she say?
And she confirmed it.
She confirmed
I'm
it?
pretty sure, yes. It's not like they sat there and told me what was said.
Oh, but they.
They said that they spoke to Misty and they didn't question me no more about Orangeville.
Oh, okay. I did tell. I mean, because there was Orangeville in that cabinet. But I'm not lying to you. So I need you to come back over here. Like to me. Like not right here physically, but I need you to come back over this way, okay? Because I did tell them there was Orangeville in that cabinet. You know? There was 2 without a cap, there was 1 with a cap, from what my knowledge is. I know there was 3 things of Orangeville in that cabinet, okay? That's fact. And they didn't check behind that meter. They didn't. I know that. Okay? But it was there. And it is, if you didn't grab it, why didn't you grab it?
Because my mom wasn't hurting no more. I got the toothpick now. It's filled up. I can eat on this side now.
So after that night, you didn't eat it anymore?
No, not besides the 800.
Why didn't you grab the Amazon or anything?
Because when I was trying that, it wasn't working. It was making me gag.
With the Q-tip?
When I was trying to put it in right there, it was making me gag going down the back of my throat.
Okay. Alright, well, you take your second. I'll talk to you in a second.
He didn't look. They didn't look at ways to question. He didn't go back to the FBI and put your own ass in the same thing.
No? I have no intention of that. I just need a. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette with you. It don't matter. I mean, just give me a second. I'll meet you down there because I'm just.
I want to know what my baby is. And I want people like you and that guy to stop coming at me like I did something to my own child.
Why did I come and show that to you? Because every time I ask you a fucking question.
No, Danny, it's not every time you ask me a question.
Oh.
Every time you ask me about what I am, I told you. It was when you went into other micro questions about it that it felt like you were an FBI agent sitting there trying to question me.
But you don't treat me like that when I ask any other question? You don't treat me like that when I talk to you any other way? Or when
Yeah, I do.
You do treat me like that.
What do you mean?
You treat me like I'm accusing you of something.
No, I only do that when you sat there and you asked the first time. I said yes. I'm like,
No,
Missy.
no,
What
no.
you continuously asking is when I started getting aggravated.
This time.
Huh?
This time.
Yeah, I am last night when you continuously asked. This time. This time. They did exactly what they wanted to do. Tore us apart.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They already did it. You didn't admit it. They already tore us apart, and the way you're treating me proves it.
What is it with these dumb ass women thinking that a child being murdered or missing is going to bring them together? That's the same thought process I got from Letitia. Like this should be bringing us together, but it's tearing us apart. These women are beyond.
She didn't really like you asking about that Orangeville trip, did she?
No, sir, she didn't.
Now, sometime after this, did you agree also to have your telephone communications monitored?
Yes, sir, I did.
And-
Also in 31.
Say again?
It's then. Oh no, it's not. I'm sorry. I thought it was on this document, a separate document. But yes, sir, I did agree to have my phone monitored.
I'd like to approach with what I marked at Stacy's in at 33-year-old. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
My consent for them to monitor my telephone, my cell phone.
Was this is this a fair and accurate copy of that document?
Yes, sir.
Is it one of those forms or more than one?
There's multiple.
Why are there multiple?
There's a second one from a month later, because I guess they have to renew them, I guess.
Did you have any problem with agreeing to this?
No, not at all.
Why is that?
I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, they already knew about what I was doing drug-wise, so I had no issues with anything they wanted to find.
Your Honor, I would offer states 33 into evidence at this time.
No objection, Your Honor.
Right, the one on the front, is that the first one?
Yes, sir.
And when does that show that that document was signed?
The 9th of October,
And then what about the second one?
the 8th of November.
Okay, so the first one's on the 9th, and then you renewed it again a month later.
Yes, sir. And I still, even past this, there was contact between me and them so they could monitor.
So there was more than just that?
Yeah.
Now, did they explain to you what of your phone communications were going to be monitored? Whether it was just your
All of them.
contact with the defendant or all of them?
Well, it says the purpose of viewing, listening to, and or recording any activity I may have with Leilani.
Was your understanding though that they would be able to listen to all of your telephone calls with anybody and see all of your text messages with anybody?
Yeah,
And you were still willing to do this?
absolutely.
Now, we just watched these videos from the hotel, and the timestamp and date stamp shows that those were on October 8th, right?
Yes, sir.
And we've talked about the consent form for monitoring your phone, and that was, the first one at least was signed on October 9th, right?
Yes, sir.
Where were you when you signed the second
My mother's house in North Carolina.
one? When did you go to your mother's house in North Carolina?
I think I signed this first paper, and I think I left Georgia that day, if I'm not mistaken.
Why did you leave Georgia?
Actually, no, I didn't leave Georgia. I left Savannah. I went to Atlanta for a weekend
And why did you go to Atlanta?
to get away from Savannah
And after Atlanta, where did you go?
to Dunn, North Carolina.
To your mother's house?
Yes, sir.
And was that, at that point, was that essentially the end of your time living in Savannah or no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you a couple miscellaneous questions. Let me ask you this. Did things between you and the defendant kind of fall apart during this investigation?
There was already nothing there.
Do you remember ever seeing Quinton with any favorite toys or stuffed animals or anything like that?
No, not specifically.
Do you remember him having a favorite Mickey Mouse toy?
No, I don't.
If he had had a favorite Mickey Mouse toy, is that something that you think you would remember having lived with him during that time frame?
More than likely, yes.
And you have no recollection of that?
No, sir.
If he had a Mickey Mouse toy that he slept with every night, would you think he would remember that?
Yes, sir, more than likely.
And you?
I wish they would have shown her face when he said that. But I do agree. I think that they were probably both holding on to the facade of something being there, especially for their newborn daughter. And it seems like, just from his current testimony, it seems like, he's just going through the paces of life. But let's be, frank here. He's hiding her phone from his, possibly talking to some other chick. She's doing her thing with Red Craig, the lover dealer. Yeah, it was over. That's a fact.
With every night, would you think he would remember that?
Yes, sir, more than likely.
And do you remember anything like that?
No, sir.
Let me ask you about trash, okay? You lived in that house for some months, if I understand correctly.
How, yeah,
For a period of months, you lived there?
yes.
Um, we have seen introduced into evidence a picture of 3 trash cans on like a wooden rack in the carport area.
Yeah, I remember that.
What-
That rack.
Say again?
I remember the wooden rack where the trash cans were kept.
What did y'all do with garbage in that house, like kitchen garbage?
Took them to those 3 trash cans that were sitting on top of that rack.
And then what would you do with the trash cans?
They would get loaded up in the truck and dumped off in a larger dumpster to be taken away.
What dumpster would y'all use for that?
Azalea mobile home.
Now, what vehicle would you use to take the?
What the fuck? They couldn't even pay for it. They couldn't. Oh, they didn't even have their own trash service. They were dumping their trash in a local neighborhood dumps. I can't. Jeez.
Those garbage cans to Azalea?
Thomas's white Silverado.
Is that something that you would do, or who would do that?
Yes, sir.
Would anybody?
I
else-
would.
Would anybody else do that?
Not normally, no.
Okay. Let me ask you this: did you guys ever drive around with garbage in the back of the Dodge Journey?
No.
Like just a trash bag with leftover food in the back of the Dodge Journey?
No.
Why not?
That would stink up the vehicle. It just sounds nasty.
At the time, October 4th, October 5th, was there any garbage in the back of the Dodge Journey?
Not to my knowledge.
Do you have any recollection of ever having a garbage bag in the back of the Dodge Journey? Like full of leftover food?
Oh, no.
The back of the Dodge Journey is upholstered, right? It had carpet.
Yes, sir. That's another reason.
Why would you not want to put a trash bag full of old food on that?
Stain the carpet and seek in, and sounds nasty.
Do you have any recollection of having had any shrimp pasta in the household in the days leading up to Quinton's disappearance?
Possibly.
Anything more you remember about that?
No.
One moment, please. Never a question.
Thank you. I ask council to approach.
Oh, she made a face. She didn't like that council was approaching. Let's speed it up and see. Is that her getting to listen to what they're saying at sidebar? That's interesting. Yeah, I agree, Tess. But no, this wasn't like the local dump twisted dumpsters for the mobile home park. They were using somebody else's dumpsters instead of paying for their own service. That's crazy. Yes, I'll grab her channel for you. Give me 1 second. I don't think they're going to continue today. Yes, he's still on the stand. I think they're almost done now, NJ.
Okay. So, Ms. Youngkin, I'm going to ask you to step down. You can have a seat in the. I'm going to ask you to just have a seat. You can leave that right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got started a little bit with the evidence itself a little bit later today, although we were working prior to that. I'm going to let y'all go for the evening, and we're going to start again in the morning. We're gonna start at 9 o'clock, so back to that, okay? And I just want to remind you again, don't discuss the case with anyone. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case with you. Don't read, do research, watch television articles. Don't consume any media reports about the case. I am going to release you this evening. I hope you have a good evening. Please know I understand this is not easy and you have my thanks. We'll see you in the morning. Okay.
Jurors will be exiting.
Yeah, I can do a recap from what I remember after this. Like, I'm definitely going to be watching this again myself. This testimony again. It's a little hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little dry at first, but the interviews are something else.
All clear, Judge.
Okay.
Queue up some audio or video in the morning. So I don't know if there's any particular dongle or anything like that. Who would I speak to about, I guess, plugging into the system?
Casey or Marianne is what I'm thinking. So if we're gonna start at 9 o'clock, you wanna be here at about 8:30?
I was gonna try to be about 8:30 so I can go and plug everything up.
Okay. We'll reach out to court administration for someone to be here at 8:30.
Y'all have, I think y'all have my email and cell phone, so just, if there's anything I need to be here earlier, just let me know and I'll be here earlier.
I would imagine at 8:30 is gonna be fine. Okay. Anything that anyone wants to put on the record at this time?
Not from the defense judge.
Mr. Youngkin, you will be the witness that begins in the morning, okay? All right, you step out in the hallway.
Might want to advise them not to speak.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Youngkin, please don't speak with anyone about the case. Don't speak with any witnesses. You yourself don't do any research or look further into the case. But the most important thing is the rule of sequestration. Don't speak with any other witnesses about the matter. Thank you. All right. With that, we're in recess until 9 a.m. in the morning. Thank you.
Yes, he did. He definitely helped the case. I agree. Holy moly, y'all. Okay. So no, we did not get to the recorded phone calls yet, although we did see some hotel room recordings. Yeah, it was a total Al Letitia moment where Al was working with the FBI to help gather evidence against Letitia. Danny did the same thing. Danny was working with the FBI to help gather evidence against Leilani. Oh my goodness. So, hey, Papa Johnson, good to see you. So, the testimony with Danny is a little dry at first. He comes in and they're trying to lay out his day. He doesn't remember a lot. He admits to being, an alcoholic during that time frame. He was drinking, oh my gosh, Fireball. I can't remember what the other one was, and beer throughout the days. And so he didn't call himself an alcoholic, but yeah, he was drinking heavily throughout the day. But we also learned that he is the one who is organizing the schedule for the kids, which is very heartbreaking to me. You have, Leilani, who's an addict and sleeping with their dealer, and she's got the kiddos, and then you've got Danny, who's an alcoholic, and he just seems like he's floating by in life, honestly, throughout this process. And my heart just broke for these babies. Honestly, I'm glad they had a babysitter. I'm glad they had Michelle in their life. Truly. Anything would have been just knowing that they got some attention and affection somewhere. But it sounds like Danny was the one who would get up in the morning. He would let her ass sleep in. She would sleep while he got the kids ready to go to the babysitter. And then he would take the kids, all three of the kids, down to the babysitter's and then come back and get her butt up for work. What? He made them when he got home from work, he made them dinner. I mean, he cooked added to the spaghetti he had made them previously and fed that to them. So I wonder if that kind of goes into the possible vomit in the crib, maybe. I don't know. But he went to bed. He was in bed asleep before she arrived home that night from the first trip to see Red Craig, the lover dealer. Yes, and that was what I was saying, is it kinda jived. He would be the one to text Michelle and about the kids, and that jived with what Michelle was telling us, about the case, on social media prior, that Danny was the one who was coming and going with them most of the time. So that does, add up. That part does. I don't think no, she said Mr. Youngkin. It sounded like she said Missy, but it was Mr. Youngkin, you are first up tomorrow is what she said there at the end. But, Misty, I don't think she's gonna be testifying. I think it was just a person that Leilani lied about. Um, so it finally gets to the portion where they're playing the body cam footage of when Leilani tells the Orgel lie for the first time. And I even called it before they show the clip. Like, you can see him cock his head, and you could tell he's like not buying her story. And then they literally walk through that. He's like, "Yeah, you can see me like tilt my head." Like, what? That was the first he had heard of her ever leaving in the middle of the night to go get this Orgel. And that's what and then they talk about him giving, the FBI permission to do audio and visual in his hotel room. Now, Jason, you asked a second ago, like, what did Leilani think she was why did Leilani think he was being put up in a hotel? Well, the first night, the law enforcement put them all up in a hotel, so maybe they were able to play off of that a little bit more. I'm really not sure, but maybe that's how they were able to get her to believe that. And so then they play through like what, 4 or 5 different videos in the hotel room. It was crazy. And she's just losing her crap. Completely. I don't mind listening to that part again. If you guys want to listen to those hotel room audios again. 'Cause I thought they were really telling. And they're not super long once we get past the workplace stuff. He is very forgetful. I do think that it's gonna and we heard there at the end that defense is going to plug in some of their own audio tomorrow. In my opinion, that means defense has something. I think he's a helpful witness for the prosecution, but I also think that there is going to be some doubt in some of the jurors' minds with Danny's testimony. I'm not saying I believe him or just, it doesn't change my opinion either way on guilt at this moment, but his forgetfulness, I'm not gonna lie, back and forth, it is a little bit of an issue for me. This is the first one.
And there are 5 files on this disk. The first 4 are each about a minute long, and then the last one is about 41.
There we go.
you about the order.
So you went and met Misty.
Yes, and I drove there and I drove out. And they tried to say that again, and I asked them to show me a picture of Misty or whatever. Did y'all speak to my fucking lady? Did you speak to her? Did you speak to her husband? Is what I wanted to know. You know? And they said her husband. Why didn't you speak to her?
So here, Leilani starts claiming that the FBI spoke to Misty's husband and not Misty. This is what she is feeding Danny here. It's just wild.
So may I ask you a question? Do you mind? Are you gonna get mad at me? I'm asking you a question before I ask you this question. No, because I need to know. Are you gonna get angry?
I can't tell you don't get angry, but I don't want questions.
Why did you lie to me about the Ford job?
I didn't. I did not lie to you about the order.
So you went and met Misty.
Yes, and I drove there and I drove out. And they tried to say that again, and I asked them to show me a picture of Misty or whatever. Did y'all speak to my fucking lady? Did you speak to her? Did you speak to her husband? Is what I wanted to know. You know? And they said her husband. But
I paused it at 1942:17 on the timestamp. And the timestamp reflects that this was on October 8th of 2022, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you catch there what she said about what police told her about who they had interviewed?
She said they interviewed her husband.
She was saying police told her that they had only interviewed Misty's husband.
Well, yeah.
That's what she told you, at least.
Yes, sir.
Because she's a lying liar from Liarsville. That's why.
And I'll pick up the playback again.
No, there is orange in it. There's orange in it.
No, I did not lie. I didn't lie to you about that.
So you went and got orange.
I went and got orange on. Pull it in and pull it out just like I told you last night.
And then they question you again about that?
Yeah. That's the only thing left.
We heard you say there that there was Orgeol in there. I'll give you that. What were you referring to?
There was Orgeol behind the mirror in the house,
And
in the bathroom.
When did you see that Orgeol?
The day, the 5th, I believe.
Okay, so like after, was it after y'all had been at the police station?
Yeah, no, maybe. I'm not gonna act like I remember 100%, but I know it was there.
So that's where, like, those type of comments, I think defense are going to have a field day with for sure.
So what did you do when you left? At 1 in the morning. What did you do? That's what you did.
Yes.
You can look me in my
I am
eyes.
looking you in your eyes, Danny. That is what I did.
You can look
That
me
is
in
what I did.
Just don't. You don't
Stop.
want to yell.
Look at me in my eyes too. That is what I did. There was nothing else that I did. I came home and I went to bed, and I woke up to my bed.
And for those coming in and didn't see this earlier, this is just like her interviews with the detectives. Her tone, her inflection, she gets more intense and angry in what I believe is the moment she's lying. Like she wants you to believe what she's saying in that moment, but she starts screaming, fills up the whole room with noise. It's so obvious once you pick up on it. She does it frequently throughout these.
There was nothing else that I did. I came home and I went to bed, and I woke up to my baby gone. Do you understand me?
So you didn't do anything else?
No, nothing
And who did you meet?
Misty.
You met Misty.
Yes.
And now the third file.
No, he did not record these on his own. Ask away, MJ. He did not record these on his own. The FBI put him up in this hotel with permission for audio and visual to be bugged in the room.
Starting with 2017.
I just don't know everything.
You do.
Nobody knows everything.
The only thing we don't know is what happened to Quinton.
So what did happen in your class?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't know. I have no idea what to fathom. I cannot make up something in my head about what could possibly happen. I have no idea what happened to that baby.
I'm asking you, as a man to my woman, what do you think may have happened?
Yeah.
We ain't talking a minute about what could have happened.
But we did spoke about it last night, and I have no idea what could have happened. I don't care about what could have happened. I want to know what happened.
So where's he at?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I'm not talking about shit.
No, you just sat there and said, so where is he at? I'm getting picked up. I'm doing all the food I bought for you. No. If there's an only person I'm sitting here wanting the love and support from that I thought would be on my side 100% is on the fucking FBI side.
Okay, MJ, tell me this is not Letitia right here with what she's saying. Oh man, flashbacks to those phone calls. Flashbacks.
I'm doing all the food I bought for you. No. If there's an only person I'm sitting here wanting the love and support from that I thought would be on my side 100% is on the fucking FBI side.
And the fourth file.
Look at his face. I'm pausing more now because we've heard it once, but like when they come back, he's just like, yep, dude, that was my life. Look at it.
And the fourth file, with file name beginning 2025.
Well, go smoke your cigarette and I'll wait till you calm down a little bit.
Sat here and explained the only thing that you did not know that I did. And I explained it. Last night and tonight.
How you did what?
Went and got Laura down.
That I didn't know about.
That's the only thing you didn't know. That when I left you at 204, you were awake. When I got back, you were awake.
From 204?
Yes.
Okay. But not from your...
Not from that. I would show you.
So here's where she starts the manipulation and the gaslighting and the fast talk, what I call fast talk, the way she's like, oh, you were awake this time, but you did this time, and blah, blah, blah. And it just, I know it's confusing him. It's crazy.
From 204?
Yes.
Okay. But not from your...
Not from that. I would show you and said, I'm going to go get Laura doing something now. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm up. And I came back.
Okay. And you remember that clearly?
I remember that clear as day. You made that little sound that I hate you fucking doing.
Okay.
See, throw in something that she knows he does frequently to get him to believe that this actually happened. It's the same as with what she does when she says that she touched Quinton's face and he curled into the blanket. Like adding a physical action to it somehow qualifies it.
Okay.
And then the last file started 2029.
You can't possibly say that. What? Because I just need support? That I'm asking for your love and support and not your questions and doubt?
I'm asking you questions so I can understand.
But how many times do you have to ask me the same question about the same time, just like the fucking FBI does?
Okay, so it's just like the FBI, but you don't talk to me.
Yes, I have.
with your pinky promise.
Yes.
That you went and got
And
orange.
I went and got orange from Missy. I pulled in the neighborhood and I turned around and I went home.
You didn't go nowhere
I
else.
didn't go anywhere else.
You didn't do anything.
Nothing at all. Nothing.
Okay. Let's one of your secret. I love it.
I think what you're going to do is you're going to let FBI in your head and now they got you over here questioning me.
No.
Oh, now she's the victim. How dare she's the victim? How dare he question her? Because he let the FBI get in his head. All the while, and she's about to go into a little rant, all the while, she's sleeping with Red Craig. I can't.
Your head and now they got you over here questioning me.
No.
It's exactly what it is. Danny,
No,
this is one of the hardest times of my life and I did not need you to question me. I needed love and affection and support and somebody sitting there telling me that we're going to find him, that it's going to be okay, that they're going to do their job.
We're going to find him. We're going to find places. They are going to find places. They're going to find places.
I hope we do.
I do too. I really do.
So they told me that they still didn't have any leads.
Is what you ain't have none?
No.
Makes sense.
What did they tell you?
That they didn't have anything they could tell me. And it's aggravating.
It's frustrating as hell.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You just say there goes the fingers through. Let me question you that way. Like you have a good question twice as hard as I have.
Twice as hard? Nah, baby. I'm the only other person in that house other than Paul. You don't think I got interrogated like a goddamn fucking... Bro, you know that.
It's funny to you.
Oh, it's funny because you think that I'm sitting here not in the same position as like you think that the shit is a game to me, but I don't. You. Woo, boy. My life. You gonna call somebody to pick you up? That's what you're doing? Alright. That's all you
I
do.
wanted to come in here and I wanted to lay
Well, I
down,
wanted you to
and I
chill.
wanted to be comforted. I wanted to be sat there and told that we're gonna do our best and that we're gonna do what we gotta do.
We are.
I did not want to sit here and be questioned the second time in a row by you about 1 o'clock.
It's the second night in a row, and it's not 1 o'clock. It's 8:30.
About 1 a.m.
Oh.
Yes, they intentionally put him in this hotel. He signed off on it. They read through that. They put him in this hotel with the intention of creating these videos, of gathering this information. Absolutely.
8:30.
About 1 a.m.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what Life 360 said.
And it wasn't 1 a.m. all that.
It was like 1:15.
And I got back at 1:25. I was gone for 12 minutes. It was
And you went and met Misty.
Went and met Misty, got orange, y'all.
And you said they told her?
I think so, yes.
What did she say?
And she confirmed it.
She confirmed
I'm
it?
pretty sure, yes. It's not like they sat there and told me what was said.
Oh, but they...
They said that they spoke to Misty and they didn't question me no more about the orange.
Oh, okay. I did tell, I mean, because there was orange in that cabinet. But I'm not lying to you, so I need you to get it. I need you to come back over here. Like, to me. Like, not right here physically, but I need you to come back over this way, okay?
No, this was done on October 8th. So the YouTubers were not even there yet. That's how, frustrating it is remembering the circus on social media surrounding Quinton's case when law enforcement had this well in hand before they even arrived. Well in hand. This might have been the day they arrived. but they still had it all, plotted out and planned before these idiots show up with their bullhorns. They're already bugging hotel rooms. And then bitch Betty has the audacity to say, we handled that case. You did nothing but cause havoc in that case, but let me shut up.
To me, like not right here physically, but I need you to come back over this way, okay? Because I did tell them there was orange gel in that cabinet. There was 2 without a cap. There was 1 with a cap, from what my knowledge is. I know there was 3 things of orange gel in that cabinet. Okay, that's fact. And they didn't check behind that mirror. They didn't. I know that. Okay, but it was there, and it is. If you didn't grab it, why didn't you grab it?
Because my mom wasn't hurting no more. I got the toothache now. It's filled up. I can eat on this side now.
So after that night, you didn't eat it anymore?
No, not because I was getting the 800.
Why didn't you grab the Amazon?
Because when I was trying that, it wasn't working. It was making me gag.
With the accuser?
When I was trying to put it in right there, it was making me gag going down the back of my throat.
Okay. Alright, well, you take your second. I'll talk in a second.
You didn't look. They were the ways to you just need to go back to that guy and put your own eyes.
No, I have no intention of that. I just need I'll just smoke a cigarette with you. It don't matter. I mean, just give me a second. I'll meet you down there because I'm just.
I want to know what my baby is. And I want people like you and that guy to stop coming at me like I did something to my own child.
Why did I come at you like that to you? Because every time I ask you a fucking question.
No, Danny, it's not every time you ask me a question.
Oh.
Every time you ask me about what I am, I told you. It was when you went into other micro questions about it that it felt like you were an FBI agent sitting here trying to question me.
But you don't treat me like that when I ask any other question? You don't treat me like that when I talk to you any other way?
Yeah, I do.
You do treat me like that.
What do you mean?
You treat me like I'm accusing you of something.
No, I only do that when you sat there and you asked the first time I said yes. I wasn't missing. What you continuously asking is when I started getting aggravated.
This time.
Huh?
This time.
Yeah, I am last night when you continuously asked. This time. This time. They did exactly what they wanted to do. Tore us apart.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They already did it. You didn't admit it. They already tore us apart, and the way you treat me proves it.
Doesn't that sound like Letitia? They're tearing us apart. Like I said when we listened to this for the first time, what is it with these women thinking that their child being murdered and or missing is somehow going to bring the relationship together? Instead, they focus on like, this should be bringing us together, not tearing us apart. It's insane. Cammie, yes, there are articles because Billy Joe did try to get custody of, I know Z, I'm not for sure about S, and obviously that was denied. But we don't know who has current custody of them, and I don't think we should. I mean, these 2 surviving siblings, I can't imagine the trauma that they're going to have to deal with in their life, and so whatever, the courts can keep out of the public eye, the better. I think that was it. I should have waited.
If you really like it.
Yeah, that was it. And then they kind of set it up for tomorrow, which will be over on Jen Lou's channel. I'll grab that link again in a second. I think we're going to hear the calls. It'll start out with the phone calls. So that'll be really interesting. But yeah, it's just another great reminder that law enforcement had this in hand. They were setting up the phone calls. They were setting up the audio. They knew who their person was from the moment she lied about I think from the door, from realizing that the door was never open. They knew. And it's just like a compounding of all these little things. And then the video of the vehicle going to the mobile home park. And they were on her tail the whole damn time. And then you got people acting like they were just sitting, literally accusing them of sitting around eating donuts or no, eating bonbons and doing nothing. But they were hard at work. Hard at work. Thank you, Grandma and Nicole. Allie's going to recap this tonight, I believe. I don't know if she's got her live set up yet. Let me look real quick if she has her live set up. I know she had a busy day. She does not have it set up, but I'm pretty sure she's going to recap it tonight. If not, I know Jonesin will probably update her community posts, which will have each witness broke down on her community post and what they testified to today. And then MJ will recap it tomorrow. And Jen Lou's streaming tomorrow. We'll let you know from there. Chief Hadley was the best. He was absolutely, and he's the silver fox, little cutie patootie, let me tell you. But yeah, I can't wait to hear others' breakdown of this. I'm gonna have to listen to his testimony a few more times to fully process it. But I can't wait until later when the discovery comes out. I feel like there's even, at trial, we're going to get a lot more information than we have before trial, but there's still so much more information that they don't even put into the trial. I'm interested in, oh, there's Allie. Yes, are you doing a recap tonight, Allie? I'm not a trial streamer, but hey, I'm here. We had fun. As much fun as we could. It was a very emotional roller coaster of a day. We kind of like to see them nail it to Leilani here like they did at the end. But prior to this, the testimony of the forensic doctor was heartbreaking. It was hard. It made me angry. Like I was literally balled up my fist. I was so angry at her face, just staring at her baby boy and nothing, just nothing. I was infuriating. Yeah, I want those texts too, Bendy. Dramatic readings for sure. Dramatic readings. I was waiting to see. Oh, there we go. Yes. She's doing a recap. She's going to play it by ear at this point. Starlink is going to be here tomorrow. Okay. Oh, that might be a good idea. Do one in the morning before this, and then it's fresh in people's brains before tomorrow. They are going to start at 9 again. So see. It was a little Freudian slip. Yeah, and then she was always somebody mentioned it in the chat earlier about maybe she's chewing on Altoids. That could be possible. That really could be it. I don't know about all trials. This one is just because I know this case from the day he went missing to now. So it's hard not to want to cover it, to hopefully see him get some justice. Yeah, okay, it was Choctaw. I knew someone had mentioned Altoids. I just couldn't remember who. So thank you. That's true. You don't lick your fingers from Altoids. That's true. That's true. All right, that's all the thoughts. I'm gonna go take a little nappy nap, but I will see you guys around these YouTube streets. Thank you. You could be anywhere, and I love that you guys are chilling here with me. I will see. Oh, my thoughts on Danny. See, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on Danny. I feel like part of me is angry towards him because he was a self-proclaimed alcoholic during this time, and those kids deserved better than that. Part of me is thankful for him for doing what's right. He gave full access to the FBI to bug this hotel room. We heard at the end here that he gave them full access to his phone, all of his calls, all of his text messages, everything. And he's like, yeah, they already knew what I was doing with the drugs, so whatever. Like, he did whatever it took to get the answers. And so, you know, there's a part of me that's like, I admire that about him. And there's a part of me that I don't think he has any culpability, or not any direct culpability of having something to do with it. I really do think he was asleep when all this went down. But I don't know. I think just the lifestyle he described in the beginning part of his interview, it broke my heart for those babies. And they deserve better. All children deserve better. I saw a man who was done. Like he didn't have 1 foot out the door, y'all. He had 2 feet out the door. His body was just there going through the motions, doing the daily routine. And why? I don't know. Maybe for their newborn, maybe just because some people are afraid of change, but yeah, he wasn't invested in the relationship, but he did seem to do a halfway decent job of making sure the children were fed and taken to the babysitter. I don't know, I just have mixed emotions about him. It did squash some of the rumors for me. Absolutely, it did squash some of the rumors. I don't know. I think people are still gonna run with it and thinking I can see where there will be some people that still run with the conspiracy of his involvement because of the way he speaks. He talks like, "Oh, I'm not gonna lie," or "I don't remember." He has lots of time gaps in his testimony, and I think that that's gonna cause some issues. Unfortunately, I think the defense is gonna pick that apart, but I don't think it'll hold. I don't think it'll hold. All right. I will definitely see you guys at Gin Lou's tomorrow. And then from there, who knows? But I'll see you on the next one. Love.